Still crying the same tears. From Emmett to Nolan, how many more years? Copper blood in these waters, Most High see us here. Peace be still, but the truth gonna appear. Emmett Till, young boy whistling in the store. White lies turned to lynch and dragged him from the door. Beaten, shot river, swallowed him whole. Open casket, mama showed the world his soul. Nolan Wills, 18, boat ride on the 4th. Only black in the circle, now they say he drowned for. Horn Island whispers, friends came back without him. Mississippi history, still hunting, still doubting. Same state, same pain, different name. Black boy lost in the Delta rain. When will it change? Lord, when will it change? Ancestors screaming, we never left this stage. 1955, Chicago boy down south for the summer breeze. Money, Mississippi, wrong place for a black team to breathe. Brian stole maybe a whistle, maybe just a smile. Jim Crow cold broken, now they coming in the night. Wow, Roy and Malone snatched him from his uncle's floor. Tortured that baby, Fanta round, body in the Tallahatchie roar. Mutilated face, mama said let the world see. Acquitted by all white jury, not guilty, set him free. Sparked the movement, Montgomery rose from the flames. But the Delta dirt still holding black boys' names. Emmett was 14, just a child in his prime. Lynched for existing in a twisted mind. Emmett Till, Nolan Wells, Delta shadows ringing bells. Black life cheap in these haunted lands. Most High coming with justice in his hands. 2026 July 4th, independence gone wrong. Broke the Horn Island with the crew, singing freedom songs. 18 years young, big heart, only copper in the mix. Friends white as the judge that let killers walking. 55 disappeared that day, body found on the shore 2 nights later. They say drowning, no foul play, but the family know better. Questions swimming deeper than the Gulf water's cold. Why leave your phone? Why the silence from the foe? Mississippi again, history echoing loud. Ben Crump calling for truth, independent, autopsy proud. Was it accident or the past rising from the mud? Black boy with white friends, trust issues in our blood.
Why the same soil claim my sons? Ancestor never left, we still the chosen one.
From Till's open casket to Nolan's unanswered call. In time signs, Leviathan rising, watch the fall. No hate, just black love, we hold each other tight. But stop crashing out on each other and demand what's right.
Peace be still,
Through the storm we prevail,
Father's child.
we shall not fail. Both in Mississippi, Delta's cruel embrace. One lynched open, one body lost without a trace. Emmett's killers brag after the verdict came. Nolan's story fogged in speculation and shame. 14 or 18, young kings taken too soon. Waters claim the bodies, but the spirit touched the moon. Same fear, same doubt, same racist undercurrent flow. But we wiser now, cameras, voices won't let go. Indigenous copper, mountain builder stand tall. We walk together, ancestors answer the call. No more silent nights, no more cover graves. Justice for Emmett, justice for Nolan. Raise the blade.
Emmett Till, Nolan Wells.
Tell now,
Emmett Till,
but our spirit never failed. We got black love, revolution now. Most High know my heart, make it right somehow.
peace be still.
Peace be still. From Till to West, the story's still real. Let the world see, let the truth be free. Let the world see, let the world see. Let the truth be free.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so with that all being said, let's see who's in here. Hey Hadassah, Pearly, Buckhorse DC, Love Chrissy, Queen Amoni Huey. All right, let's get into it. Nessie X, Anita Harrell, Betty Boop. Okay, Burma. Real Eyes Recognize Real Lies, 57 Beige Fox, Cancer 2184. Okay, let's get into it. KQB. All right, Chili Willy from Philly. Okay, lights up, everyone, please. Like and share. I see you next to G, the lovely T. Okay, Terry Hinton. DJ Big Six. Okay, so shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Battle X. And a big shout out to my moderators because they be putting in work. I see you, 504 NOLA. Okay, that crazy beach Aries. All right, so let's get this party started. Now, first things first, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her amazing products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so let's get into it. So listen, for those of you who tuned in last night, we had an impromptu live, okay? And it was about some information that someone gave my friend Secret Service Sam, or some information they want to give him. They basically told him about the Dixie Mafia. They told him about the Dixie Mafia being in full effect down there in Mississippi. And they told Sam to give them a call. Now, I'm going to go to that video again. Some of you saw it last night. Now, with that all being said, I put that video on members only. Okay, I put that video on members only. But here's the thing. So today, Betty Boop, thank you for sending me this. But today I got this. Hold on. What is TMZ talking about? Okay. So today I got this email from Betty Boop with this guy. And let me see if this is it right here. Okay, with this guy, and he was making some serious allegations. Okay, first of all, he was talking trash about Ben Crump, calling him a pimp and all of that. But I didn't pay that any attention. What I did pay attention to was the other things that he said. I want you all to pay attention. Now, he said that there is a whole, basically a network down there, okay? And he talked about how politicians, all these officials, judges, all these people are involved. And he said Ben Crump is outgunned and outmanned, okay? Basically saying Ben Crump's going to be blocked at every turn. Now, with that all been said, I'm going to let you all hear what he has to say. I'm going to skirt past some of it because he's using curse words and all that. And I don't really, YouTube, when you're dropping F-bombs and all of that, it can affect your monetization. So I'm not going to play all of it. But I want you all to pay attention when we get to it. Now, before we get into that, let's talk about TMZ. TMZ, I would have to say and venture to guess that they actually steal content. I'm not going to say steal. They actually use content from content creators, okay? Because this video that they posted today, could have sworn that this is the same video that I showed you all last night. Now, you all tell me, those of you who saw it. I'm not saying they got it from me, but they got it from the person who posted it on TikTok. Okay, in my opinion, because it looks like the same video. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm going to play their video and then we'll go to the other one. But it says, this is what TMZ reports. They say, Nolan Wells case, possible sighting of boat in newly surfaced video. Okay, so this is on the 4th of July. So they go on to say, The person who posted it says, "I took this at 11:17 a.m. before it even got crowded. It usually it's usually afternoon when the island starts packing them in, and it ended with our boat being second of the 4 deep anchored boats." So they say at the end of this clip, Mac Daddy boat is clearly seen. Now, I want y'all to pay attention. Does anybody remember the Mac Daddy boat? I told you all last night. Those of you who were in here last night, hold on for a second. Hold on, I'm multitasking. So those of you who were in here last night, you remember I showed you a video, put a one in the chat with that Mac Daddy boat in it. With Nolan, it looked like Nolan bent it over. I'm pretty sure that was Nolan. Okay, I'm pretty sure that was Nolan. So yeah, this is what they're talking about. Hold on. Hold on, beloveds. So what they're basically saying is that this boat that we first were talking about, remember TMZ posted this picture like maybe a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so now here's what they're saying. At the end of the clip, Mac Daddy boat is clearly seen, and it appears to match the footage obtained by TMZ from the same day, which could be the final sighting of Nolan before his disappearance. The clip was posted by a person who said they captured the footage on July the 4th at 11:17 a.m. before the area became crowded. In our video, metadata shows the video was recorded at 2:23 p.m., making this sighting way earlier in the day. Now, in the video we previously obtained, the man wearing trunks matching the color of the ones Nolan was wearing in the infamous July 4th pic was with his friends on a boat, and you can also see a couple of older adults also aboard the boat. However, in this video, the adults seemingly don't appear to be the same. So the possible match has sparked renewed attention online, though it has not been confirmed whether the boat in the new footage is the same vessel connected to Nolan's disappearance. Now, the video comes as investigators continue working to piece together Nolan's final known movements and determine what happened in the hours surrounding his disappearance. The boat's appearance and location have raised questions, but officials have not publicly confirmed any connection between the vessel in the video and the ongoing investigation. Now, let me tell you all something. This is what I think they're doing right here. Y'all know I don't trust, you all know that I don't trust TMZ. Okay? Hold on, Queenie Freestyle like you like that TV. Can you please stop calling me Queenie Beloved? I know you like to call me that, but I don't like it. Please stop calling me that. Okay, my name is Queen, not Queenie. Okay, Ebony said if we had an FBI that did its job, they could protect those willing to talk. Exactly, but they're down there too busy worried about Judge Ashley Cole, okay, playing the victim. So with that all being said, let's continue because, like I was telling you guys, I believe that TMZ is trying to help the other folk, and so them reporting this thing about this boat to me seems like possibly they're what are y'all laughing at? Because what I said. Because I told him to stop calling me Queenie. Yeah, I don't like that. I never did when he first said it. I just let it slide. But so anyway, as you know, Nolan disappeared after those friends left, and his body was found July the 6th on the Horn Island shoreline. Okay, no witnesses have at least publicly reported seeing him after 4:30 p.m. on July the 4th. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. I just caught something. Did y'all hear that? Hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me pull up this receipt now because TMZ just effed up. They literally just effed up. Hold on. Let me find this receipt real quick. Did y'all hear what I just read? Let me read that to you again. As you know, Nolan disappeared after those friends left and his body was found July the 6th on the Horn Island shoreline. No witnesses at least have publicly reported seeing him after 4:30 p.m. on July the 4th. Well, didn't Warren say, hold on, let me find this clip. Well, didn't he say someone told him they saw him after 6 o'clock? You all remember that? Hold on. I don't remember which clip. Let me see if I can find that specific clip. Hmm. Okay, I have to find that later. But you all do remember that, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that. Y'all remember it? Okay, so was Warren lying? According to TMZ, he is. Because they said no witnesses have said that they saw him after 4:30 p.m. on July the 4th. Now, the boy's parents laid him to rest July the 20th at Center Point Church in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, in a service officiated by Reverend Al Sharpton. Okay, and then they're going to talk about all of that, which we already know. Okay, this is exactly the same video that I showed you all last night. They got this from a TikToker, a person who was there and saw it. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Hold on, beloveds. Now I'm going to mute this. I'm going to mute this video because, again, they're playing music. Okay, likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. This is all nefarious. Okay, didn't I tell you all the Klan was possibly involved in this from day one? On July the 18th, I did a video called Mississippi's Clandine, what was it called? Their clandestine connection or something like that. I'll go to that video. But so here's the thing I want you to pay attention to, because all of that stuff that I told you all in that video, it's very interesting that the guy who wants to give Secret Service Sam information happened to bring up the Dixie Mafia. And where did you all first hear about the Dixie Mafia? That's right. You heard it here first because I did a video about them 3 years ago. So also when I did that video about the Klan, we talked about the Dixie White Knights, who was a very active Klan group down there in Mississippi. Now, mind you, the Dixie Mafia is very close to Ocean Springs because they're in Biloxi. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention because this is exactly what I told you all weeks ago. Hold on. Let's get into it, though. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to share the screen so you can see this video of the Mac Daddy boat. That's right. MI said the Dixie Mafia equals police. I absolutely believe it. No volume because I don't want the music playing, copyright claims and all that. So just pay attention because you're going to see that Mac Daddy boat, the one that TMZ reported that Nolan was bending over on. And also what was important to note is that the person who posted the video said that it was 11:15 in the morning and it was already crowded. Said it was already crowded. Hold on. I don't see it on here. I'm going to go to that other video that I showed you all last night. Okay, TMZ said you should see it in this video, but I didn't see it. Hold on. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here's the video from last night. Now, as soon as I'm going to let the guy talk, but as soon as he goes to the footage, I'm going to have to mute. Please pay attention. And oh, by the way, like I told you guys, I'm the one that noticed yesterday that that ranger who supposedly found Nolan's body, if you all missed it, go back and check out my video from yesterday morning. But the Buckhorse DC, you are not blocked. Okay, stop playing games in the chat, beloved, or I'll put you in timeout. You do that all the time. You're not blocked. We can see everything you're typing. Okay, so now with that all being said, if you missed the video that I did yesterday morning, go back and watch because I brought up the fact that no one seemed to have noticed that the ranger who they claim found Nolan's body has never been publicly identified. We don't have a picture. We don't have a statement. We don't know his name. Nobody's even said anything about him. And I find that very suspicious. And I tell you all the reasons why I find it suspicious in yesterday's video. But with that all being said, now someone says that he's involved in it. Okay, so that makes all the sense. In the video that Betty Boop sent me, the guy alleges, and he's an investigator. Okay, according to him, he's an investigator. And he says that this anonymous ranger who found Nolan is involved in it. Okay, and I'm going to tell you like this. I already thought that. That's why I brought it up. And at the end of the day, that's why I also told you that the United Cajun Navy, I believe they're in on it too, specifically Brian Trasher. Because Brian Trasher was saying one thing at first, then all of a sudden he started lying on Ben Crump. Okay, all of a sudden the Cajun Navy starts saying, oh, Ben Crump needs to stop misrepresenting our words. Like they're trying to take Ben Crump down. Okay, so anyway, let's get into it.
We'll have more footage from the day that Nolan Wells allegedly goes missing on July 4th, 2026. But you're going to notice something very interesting to my point that I've been bringing up for quite some time. Take a look at this video by one of the boaters on Horn Island that was anchored down around 11:15, 11:17 in the morning before it got really congested and really, really busy that day.
That's it right there. I see it. That's the Mac Daddy boat. Do y'all see it? I know it's kind of small on here, but that's the Mac Daddy boat that TMZ previously referenced and said Nolan was bending over on that boat. Okay? That's it right there. Queen got the receipts for your behind on this Monday morning. Thank you, beloved. Yeah, that's the Mac Daddy boat right there that Nolan was seen bending over on. That's what he's pointing to. And also, he talks about how it's 11:15 in the morning, but this place is already so packed. So how could anyone have done something and no one saw a thing? Okay, and no one saw nothing?
Which is right here. That's the same boat that Nolan Wells allegedly, if this is Nolan Wells, we do not know. That was the infamous picture that we've seen of, apparently, allegedly, Nolan Wells bending over to grab something. So that boat was seen in that video. But here's the point that I want to make. Did you notice all the people there at 11:15, 11:17 in the morning? Did you notice how many people were already there? And that was before they even got congested, before they got really busy, which again leads me to my next statement that I've been bringing up many, many times so far over the last couple of weeks. Are you really seriously telling me that no one saw anything that's happening? Are you telling me that no one saw a damn thing? With all those people there, no one saw anything? We now have more footage from the day that Nolan Wells allegedly goes missing.
Okay, I want you all to pay attention. This is all getting really real. This is all getting really real. Hold on. Hold on, beloveds. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to go to this video of when this guy is talking about how all these people are involved. Like I said, I'm going to skip past a little bit of it because he's cursing. I'm going to skip past this few seconds. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here we go. Now I want you all to listen to what this dude's saying. Hold on. Here we go. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Roll it back just a little bit.
You start with whoever finds the body. And yes,
Hold on.
outclassed at every turn. People got the right to say whatever the fuck we want.
God damn it. That's what I was trying to skip past. Darn it. Hold on.
Over his head. And I mean that for you to take it however you want to take it. I know the fucking players down there. Ben Crump is fixing to be outgunned and outclassed at every turn, as he has been, and I called it that he was going to be, because people are trying to cover this up. And what Ben Crump does not understand, this is not that asshole cop in Minnesota where he has sympathy. A judge is involved. County officials are involved. The anonymous park ranger, which I've been meaning to say something about him, is involved. You always start with whoever finds the body. And yes, I am an investigator. No, I'm not licensed in Mississippi to be a private investigator. You know why I'm not licensed in Mississippi to be a private investigator? Because there is no license requirement in the state of Mississippi to be an investigator, but I'm a damn good one. So if you think I can't solve this shit, you think I won't ask a few questions, you got me sorely mistaken, because I absolutely will. I 100% will ask questions. And we'll have no problem doing it. I got no problem knocking on doors. I got no problem taking rides on boats and taking rides in my truck. I got no problem showing up certain places. I got no problem going to the courthouse inside the belly of the beast and demanding that they follow the law. And putting in public information access requests. I got no problem doing that. None. Somebody used the term and said I was, what's that term they use? Great white hope? That's not me. I'm not the great white hope. I'm just some fucking guy on the internet that just happens to be pissed off enough to do something about it. That's who I am. That being said, I am goddamn well entitled to my opinion. This is commentary. This is what I personally think. Although a lot of what I said appears to be correct, I'll say it again. Ben Crump is ill-equipped to deal with what he's dealing with. This ain't just some police union. This ain't just some cop. This is not a bad use of force. This is a system of historic corruption that he is fighting. Historic corruption. Mississippi is the most corrupt state in the union. Tell me I'm lying, people. I dare you. Show me. Tell me and show me that I'm fucking full of shit. I challenge you. I want to see that. My guess is none of you do.
Okay, I'm tired of him and all that cursing. I'm going to have to edit this video or else not get paid for it, one or the other. Okay, so with that all been said, Creamer Sherry says the sheriff called the FBI there to find the people threatening the judge. They're not there for Nolan. Let that sink in. Exactly, beloved. Exactly. That's what I said. Now, let me just tell you all this. He's talking about all of this corruption, right? And he's absolutely right about that. Okay, I absolutely have to agree because like I said, I told you all on July the 18th, you heard it here first, about the clan ties down there and how just in 2018, in Ocean Springs specifically, they were bringing out the Klan flyers and trying to recruit new people. But also, yesterday, I told you all the history of Horn Island and Ocean Springs. Okay, and they mentioned the Klan in that as well. So with that all being said, I find it all very interesting. This to me is the reason no one is talking. Okay, so before I go to this clip, hold on. Before I go to this clip, let's hear what the guy told Sam last night.
With me, check it out.
Somebody tag Secret Service Sam immediately. Secret Service Sam, look, man, come holler at me. You can hop on a phone call with me, right? We ain't even got to do the little internet interview or whatever the case is. We could do a private interview, and you can tell the people all the notes that I give you about Dixie Mafia. Huh? I got you, bro. I got you. You trying to help us out? Come tap in with your boy, right? I could tell you about the killing in 1987 of Judge Vincent Sherry and his wife, Margaret, and the Dixie Mafia members killed the judge and his wife. I can tell you about that assassination. I can give you some facts, bro. Or how Judge Vincent Sherry was also part of the Lonely Heart scam that the Dixie Mafia was running. I can give you some game. Or matter of fact, Secret Service Sam, I can tell you this. Mike Gillich, his nephew. Now, Mike Gillich is part of the Dixie Mafia. His nephew became a mayor of Biloxi. I can tell you all about the corruption and the racism on the coast of Mississippi, Secret Service Sam. Come holler at your boy at ease.
Thank you so much for this information. It's literally chilling to hear this. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Secret Service Sam out.
Okay, so now I want you all to pay attention. So this guy, even though he was talking all that trash, you know, I'm a person, I choose to chew the meat and spit out the bones. So let's take what we can from what he said. So he says that this town or Mississippi is full of corruption. There's officials involved. Okay, he talks about Ben Crump being outgunned and outmanned, so Ben Crump's not going to be able to stop what's going on down there, right? That is right, Miss Lily says all of these politicians are in the clans. I absolutely believe it. Listen, let me tell you all something. I absolutely believe it because do you all know that Bill Clinton was alleged to have been a part of the Dixie Mafia? Okay, so I want you all to pay attention to how deep this whole thing goes. Okay, this is some serious business, like I told you all last night, for those of you who were here. With that being said, let's go to the video that I did last night, just for those who missed it, so you can get a gist of how nefarious these people in fact are. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, I'm about to pull this up. Hold on, give me just a second. Okay, here we go. Okay, this was a nefarious mafia gang that were committing murders, extortion, you name it, they did it, okay? And most people haven't even heard of them. Now, for those of you who weren't here to attend last night, the thing is, the Dixie Mafia is a group that I had researched years ago, and I did a video about them 3 years ago on my true crime channel. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about right here in this video clip. This is what I shared on the video last night, so let's get into it. Here we go. Make sure you all can see that. Okay. Okay, so the Dixie Mafia murders of Judge Vincent Sherry and Margaret Sherry. So these thugs actually killed a judge and his wife. So we'll get into that part of the nefariousness later. So the Dixie Mafia, also known as the Cornbread Cosa Nostra of the South, that's what they called them. So in the 1960s, the Dixie Mafia emerged as a loose confederation of crooks and con artists based in Biloxi, Mississippi. And let me just say, I want you all to pay very close attention, because this right here just might be the reason that nobody is saying anything, okay? That people are afraid to speak out. This right here is likely the reason. They've been known to be called the cleanup crew. Okay, please pay attention, but let's continue. But years later, it became a terrifying criminal organization. Now, often described as the Cornbread Cosa Nostra, the Dixie Mafia first emerged in the American South in the 1960s. Unlike the traditional mafia, this group was not united by ethnic heritage and had no hierarchy or oath. Instead, the Dixie Mafia was a ragtag band of crooks who were willing to do just about any crime if there was money involved. So from murdering authority figures to burning down buildings to creating elaborate extortion schemes, the Dixie Mafia was known far and wide as an anything for a buck gang. While they were initially based out of Biloxi, Mississippi, it didn't take long for their reach to spread across the South, and members only had to obey one rule: thou shalt not snitch to the cops. Y'all heard that? Thou shalt not snitch to the cops. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, at the end of the day, this might be the same reason why the Cajun Navy guy, Brian Trasher, this may be why he changed his story. This may be why they're lying on Crump. Okay, this may be why they're trying to get Crump to stay out of Mississippi. I want you all to pay attention. Is the governor involved in the Dixie Mafia? I have several questions. Okay, but let's continue. Now, for decades, this gang operated lawlessly and targeted anyone who stood in their way. But by the early 1990s, the syndicate had largely collapsed. One of the top leaders of the Dixie Mafia, Kirk C. McCord Nix Jr., had been caught running a scam from prison and even ordering a mob hit from behind bars. Clearly nefarious. But despite the massive crackdown on former members that followed, many believe the group is still secretly active today. This is the little-known story of the Cornbread Cosa Nostra. So during the 1960s, the group of criminals known as the Dixie Mafia began to creep across cities and towns in the South. Far from a sophisticated organization, this crime ring was a loose network of thugs, as the FBI called it. They primarily operated in Biloxi, Mississippi, but the group's reach stretched from Atlanta, Georgia to Tulsa, Oklahoma. So they had different segments and chapters of this gang. Pay attention. Now, in many ways, Biloxi was an ideal place for the Dixie Mafia stomping grounds. With a history of crime older than the United States itself, Biloxi had first gained a reputation as a haven for illicit gambling in the 17th century. This seedy history and the ongoing corruption of local officials made the city an attractive place for lawbreakers. Now, let me just pause there for a second, because this is what I want to also say. People are scared and quiet down there. Nobody wants to say anything. And I told you all that before. Now that we have, now that we know the Dixie Mafia may still be active, because they were supposed to be done. But this guy and several other people have said, the guy that talked to Sam, on his caption, it said the Dixie Mafia is still here, and likely so. But there is a book about the Dixie Mafia that I read, and here's what it's called: Silenced by the Dixie Mafia. Okay, so this is what they do. They were known as a cleanup crew. If there was a problem, anything the rich, elite, wealthy people, politicians, law enforcement, you name it, wanted to cover up, they would call the Dixie Mafia. Let me say allegedly. And these people were known as the cleanup crew. They would do anything for money, okay? There was no boundaries. Whatever it was, they do it. They even got rich running a scam in prison after some of the members got caught and convicted. They were running a Lonely Hearts scam, just like that guy said in the video. I talk all about that in the video that I'm showing you. I want y'all to pay attention. This is way deeper than anybody probably thought. Well, most people, because I told you all early on that I believe that the Klan was involved in this whole thing, because the White Knights of the KKK absolutely have affiliations to the Dixie Mafia. Okay, please pay attention. Why do you think they both call themselves Dixie? Okay, clearly affiliations. Now, mind you, if you research that, it'll say they're not affiliated, but absolutely they are. Please pay attention, because these people are all in the same boat. Okay. No pun intended.
By the 1980s, the blurred lines between government officials and Dixie Mafia members had become so extreme that federal authorities designated the entire Harrison Sheriff's Office in Mississippi as a criminal enterprise. Now, that's because, beloveds, they actually had police officers working with them. Okay, some of the police were working right along with these thugs. Aside from forming alliances with some members of law enforcement, the Dixie Mafia also worked alongside fellow mobsters. While the Dixie Mafia had no formal ties to LA Cosa Nostra, they did have an understanding with a notorious Italian-American mafia mob boss named Carlos Marcello. Marcello, one of the most powerful leaders in organized crime in America, operated in New Orleans around the same time that the Dixie Mafia was coming to power. Marcello tolerated the Dixie Mafia's presence just as long as they played by his rules and paid for his hospitality. Some Dixie Mafia members were allegedly hired to collect debts and carry out hits for him.
Fit of the day, very just classy.
They say they were doing anything and everything illegal down here. This is what a retired FBI special agent named Keith Bell said. He actually grew up in the Gulf Coast and worked on cases that were linked to the Dixie Mafia.
Okay, so let me just tell you all a little bit about this mobster, this mob boss by the name of Carlos Marcello, who's down there in Louisiana and who actively was working with the Dixie Mafia. Okay, so he maintained basically a pragmatic or transactional relationship with them, okay, with a loose regional network known as the Dixie Mafia. Now, while the Dixie Mafia had no formal leadership in La Cosa Nostra, they operated under a strict regional understanding with Marcello. And their main rule, of course, was do not snitch to the cops. Now, here's the nature of their alliance. Please pay attention. Now, Marcello claimed the Gulf Coast, okay, and Louisiana as his absolute fiefdom. Okay, now he tolerated the Dixie Mafia only if they respected his boundaries. Okay, just as I said. Now let's go back to this, and we're going to talk about some of the rackets and stuff that they were involved in a moment. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
He said for money, the sheriff and officers loyal to him would release prisoners from the county jail, safeguard drug shipments, and hide fugitives. Anything you can think of, they were involved. Now,
okay, so hiding fugitives, letting people out of jail, this is the kind of things they did. It's crazy. Now, you all hear this? Letting whole prisoners and cons out of jail for a few bucks. Okay, please pay attention. The corruption is running rampant down there in Mississippi, okay, and not just in one place in Mississippi, all throughout. Isn't that nefarious? Okay, I want you all to pay attention. And they have their own set of rules. I told you. Now, with that being said, let's get back to this alliance and their rules of operation. Okay, so independent outlaws could work in Marcello's territory, provided that they did not draw excessive law enforcement attention or interfere with his established legal and illegal rackets. Okay, they were running a myriad of rackets, mind you. And there were plenty of law enforcement officials that were involved with these people, okay? So I don't really know why they were so concerned about people snitching to the cops. I guess because some of them who weren't involved would likely, report them to the FBI. Who knows? But also the Southern Poverty Law Center, who Trump has now deemed as being what did he say about them? Trump basically has said that they were supposed to be investigating hate groups, but said that they were actually funding hate groups. Now, I don't know if I believe that because Trump said it. It could be a possibility, but like I told you all months ago, when I reported on that, I'm not sure because Trump lies a lot. Were these people really funding hate groups, or were they really exposing them? Okay. At the end of the day, they are the ones who recently, a few years ago, brought up the Dixie Mafia. Okay, they were looking into them. They had the watchdog, them and other watchdog groups were looking at the Dixie Mafia. These people are absolutely still around. Now, the Dixie Mafia paid a cut of their criminal scores to Marcello for the privilege of operating within his sphere. Marcello's organization occasionally utilized trusted Dixie Mafia figures as external muscle to execute debt collections and high-risk contract hits. Okay? Marcello's political corruption. Okay? And he had power in Louisiana. So he had a lot of politicians, this mafia boss, he had a lot of politicians who he was involved in doing deals with. Okay, they had a history of criminal operations all across the South, specifically led by the Dixie Mafia. And then there were federal investigations at one point that was led by Robert F. Kennedy against Marcello. And then, hold on. I'm trying to skip past some of this. Okay, Marcello claimed the Gulf Coast and Louisiana as his absolute fiefdom. Okay, so this man thought he was running everything. Okay, that's what he thought. And he was. And he was. People feared him. And just for you to know what the word fiefdom means, it's like a feudal system, a piece of land granted by a king or a lord. Okay, the obligation, well, the lord ruled the land in exchange for military service to the king. And the peasants worked the land and they didn't have any ownership or rights. So basically, that's what he was doing. He felt like he was the king. He owned he owned the whole Gulf Coast, okay, and Louisiana. And these other people worked under him. And then he had the peasants who had no rights. That was total control. This is what Carlos Marcello had. Okay, total control. It's basically like an organization or department or territory, and that was run like someone's own personal kingdom. Okay, please pay attention. And also, they even talk about the geographic area strictly controlled by a single mafia boss. Okay, Carlos Marcellos had complete control over all of Louisiana. Okay, so let's get back into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I told you all, it's nothing but the good old boy system and Southern fried justice. That's what you call it. Southern fried justice. When you get people like the Cornbread Mafia, the Dixie Mafia, okay, when you get them to handle things and let them enact justice however they choose. Please pay attention. This is serious business.
I want you all to pay attention to that part where they say for money, they would actually let people out of jail and out of prison. Well, here's the thing. Remember back when all of those stories kept popping up about inmates escaping from jail and all of that, and I was doing like a story every other week, it seemed. All right. I told you all that I thought that was very suspicious that all of these prisoners and these people keep getting out of jail. Now, there has to be someone helping them on the inside, 9 times out of 10. And when you read stuff like this, that makes it seem all the more plausible. Now, as one member of the Dixie Mafia put it, what makes them so dangerous is that they don't think, they just act. They don't draw a line. Everything is fair game.
If you want to learn Spanish, you need this. You speak English, it answers in Spanish.
What would you like to order?
Despite the loose structure that made up the Dixie Mafia network, the Southern Crime Syndicate was implicated in a number of high-profile cases. In 1967, McNairy County Sheriff Buford Pusser, I guess that's Pusser, and his wife were attacked in Tennessee, likely in retaliation for Pusser's crackdown on the Dixie Mafia. Pusser ultimately survived the attack, but his wife Pauline was killed. Kirksey McCormick Jr., one of the lead figures of the Dixie Mafia, was suspected to be one of the men behind the hit. Now, in the subsequent years, 3 suspects, not including Nix, suffered mysterious deaths that may have been caused by Pusser. Now, the sheriff's revenge story was later depicted in the 1975 film Walking Tall.
You all remember that movie? And then I think they did a remake of it starring The Rock. Okay, please pay attention. These people are so Now, I'm going to stop right there because now I want to go to this clip where they talk about Carlos Marcello and some of the people that he was involved with. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Judicial system were all corrupt under Marcello's iron hand.
He was the guy who was the overseer of everything that went wrong in New Orleans.
The historical tradition of New Orleans, going back to the French and Spanish period, bribery, political corruption were not only tolerated, but an almost expected part of the political system.
And Carlos Marcello fit right in, bargaining with the mob henchmen who patrolled the city's markets. In 1928, when Marcello was 18, he left home and rented a room in New Orleans' French Quarter. The neighborhood had a reputation as a breeding ground for criminals. Carlos started pulling off petty burglaries, but he had bigger plans. Carlos saved every penny and bought a rundown bar near New Orleans that he used as a front for selling marijuana. But to keep his business running, he had to pay off the local mob hood who worked for Louisiana Mafia boss Sam Silver Dollar Carolla. When he was 26, Marcello joined Carolla's Mafia family. Carlos focused his attention on his budding pinball and vending machine company and used his mob connections to strong-arm local business owners.
All the bars, restaurants, saloons who wanted to have pinball machines or slot machines in their establishments, they had to go through them. If they went to somebody else, a competitor, they found themselves in trouble.
In 1944, Marcello got a big break. Top New York mobsters like Frank Costello and Meyer Lansky offered the 35-year-old Marcello a partnership in an illegal casino in nearby Jefferson Parish.
It was almost all public gambling. It was not underground at all. And the police and the mayor, everybody tolerated it.
Carlos greased their palms to keep the casino running.
Okay, so you all heard that right? The police and the mayor. Okay, the police and the mayor. So all of these people were involved in these things back then, and I do believe that they're still involved in it now. And you heard what that investigator said. Okay, politicians, everybody, all of these different officials. And like I told you all, it was even rumored that Bill Clinton was involved with the Dixie Mafia. Okay, also at some point back in the 60s, they even had a plot to assassinate Dr. King. Okay, they even had a plot to assassinate Dr. King. I mean, these people are beyond nefarious.
In the 1940s, times were good for the New Orleans Mafia, awash in gambling profits. But the good times were almost over for boss Sam Silver Dollar Carolla. After a decade-long court battle, he knew that the government was about to deport him to his native Sicily. In May 1947, Carolla called a meeting of top Louisiana mobsters to name a successor.
The National Organized Crime Commission all unanimously agreed that Marcello would be the one to take over the New Orleans syndicate.
Marcello became the new boss of New Orleans, In the late 1960s, Carlos Marcello's legal and illegal businesses were thriving. His criminal organization was generating a reported $2 billion a year, making it the largest industry in the state of Louisiana. But Marcello didn't let it go to his head.
There had never been any electronic surveillance of Marcello whatsoever, whether it be by court order or otherwise. And I thought that was very unusual. He was very, very careful about speaking in his office. When conversations were even a little more sensitive, he would, give you a finger wave and say, get down, and you'd be down on all fours, on your knees, in the well of his desk.
In 1979, feds found someone they thought could get them inside Marcello's trusted circle.
There was a fellow by the name of Joe Hauser who had his own criminal problems. He had been convicted of insurance fraud, and he wanted to do whatever he could to keep his sentence as manageable as possible. And said, this fellow claims that he can put us into Carlos Marcello. I said, good, let him prove it.
Feds hoped to catch Marcello illegally obtaining contracts for a phony insurance company they set up for Hauser. 2 undercover FBI agents, including Agent Michael Wax, accompanied Hauser.
I became the nephew of Mr. Hauser, and then I had a business partner. The agent's name was Larry Montague. And Larry and I and Joe would pose as owners and operators of a company that dealt in insurance contracts.
There was an unprecedented surveillance effort targeting Marcello's home and his headquarters at the Town and Country Motel.
We had his house phone, we had his office phone. Also, we had a microphone in the ceiling of his office, directly over his desk.
The investigation yielded an enormous amount of evidence, including 35,000 conversations captured on 1,400 recorded reels.
It was just a rolling history of corruption and payoffs and how you got things done in the state.
Marcello and a handful of associates were indicted in connection with the insurance contract scheme. On August 4th, 1981, Marcello was found guilty of 1 count of conspiracy.
I think he finally realized that that was going to be it for the rest of his life, probably.
He had me call his wife. He walked over to the courthouse and started doing his time.
Marcello was moved from prison to prison as his health deteriorated. The once powerful mobster struggled to keep his empire going. He suffered multiple strokes and battled Alzheimer's disease.
The federal penitentiary effectively ended his reign as mafia boss in New Orleans. Nobody was there to take his place, and the whole empire collapsed.
On July 23rd, 1989, Marcello finally caught a break, and his conspiracy conviction was overturned on a technicality. The once feared boss could return home and resume what was left of his life, but his health was fading.
He started with the long goodbye, Alzheimer's. By the time he got out, I remember his son brought him over to see me, and I really don't have the sense that Carlos recognized me.
All that remained was a quiet existence in his native New Orleans. On March 3rd, 1993, Carlos Marcello, age 83, died of natural causes in his own bed. But his legacy lives on.
Okay, so there you have it. That is the story of Carlos Marcello, the person that, in fact, was working with the Dixie Mafia, who employed them and had them doing a series of things. And that's who they're talking about. So now, let's take a break for a second and go to what this forensic scientist had to say. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. First off, let's go to this other video first. Hold on. Because this guy seems to think that Bart is the one who did it. And if I had to guess, I would have the same guess.
Bart did it. Now, this is allegedly, but I believe that Bart did it. I believe that Bart had some type of relationship with Katie. Katie was obviously with Nolan. Bart had a jealous rage seeing a young black male with a white female. We know in states like Mississippi, I see it all the time in my community, where white guys get jealous to see black guys with white girls. I've seen it a million times, and people who deny this are flat out lying. I believe what happened was that Bart put Nolan in a chokehold, and he didn't realize his own strength, and Nolan did not wake up. Hence the reason why we hear in the background of the CTO call, we hear, "Damn it, Bart, Nolan, wake the fuck up. Is he dead?" All this is allegedly now. Well, if he just accidentally killed him, then why wouldn't they bring him to the police? Because Bart has so much to lose. He was the star football player on his way to the NFL. A manslaughter charge, whether it's involuntary or voluntary or a negligent homicide, is not going to look well on his resume and would obviously disqualify him from his NFL career. Because of his football stardom, and apparently he has a family with the same pedigree, he has clout around town enough to get people to remain silent, enough to help construct an alibi, and also put the fear of God in these kids. Tell them that you're also going to be implicated in this, and we're all going to go down. We're all going to be arrested. Also, why they tried to place Bart not at the scene initially. Now, they went on a speaking tour. Warren did the most talking, and listening to him talk with Officer Tatum, he almost did too much talking and told on the crew. Warren says that when they got the boat back, that he went upstairs to talk to the father of one of the kids rather than hanging out with everybody downstairs. He says that they were talking about boats up there. Now, why would you even bring this up? Like, why would this?
Now, let me stop him right there. Didn't I tell you all this? Didn't I tell you all about when they went to the pool party at Ava's house on July the 4th? That everybody was downstairs partying. Put a one in the chat if you remember me telling you this the other day. Everyone was supposedly downstairs partying, having a good old time. And where was Warren? Warren was upstairs talking to her dad about boats. And I told you all that Warren must love to talk about boats because that's all he talked about on Tap Dancing Tatum's show. And I told you all that I don't think he was talking about no darn boats. I think he was getting advice about what to do about the nefarious situation that allegedly they may have caught themselves in. Okay, now I don't know if they did anything, but at the end of the day, I believe that they did something. I believe that someone did something to Nolan and the rest of them helped to cover it up. And I also believe that people are afraid to speak out because of the Dixie Mafia and the Dixie White Knights. Okay? That's what I think. But let's let him cook.
Can be a part of the story if it was such an innocuous thing that you were just going upstairs to randomly talk to a father about boats. The reality is because they weren't talking about boats. They were constructing an alibi and a cover story. And when they came downstairs, it was automatically like, oh, what happened to Nolan? Where is Nolan? Has anybody seen Nolan? Let's call the Coast Guard. Why would they call CTO? Why would they call the Coast Guard? Because it creates a timeline. It creates like a paper trail of where they could have been anywhere but with Nolan. Also, why would you call the Coast Guard if you truly believe that Nolan just was behind with the girl Katie? Even if Katie had came back at that point, why wouldn't you think he's off with some other girl or doing something else? Why would you think something nefarious happened? Why? Because you had his phone and you knew that something nefarious happened. Again, this is allegedly. Let's smoke them out. What doesn't come out in a wash always comes out in a rinse.
And that is facts. And shout out to him because that is the bomb. That's news right there. Okay? I think he's on the right track. And let me just tell you all something else. Now, someone told me this yesterday. Hold on. Let me see if I can find their comment. Someone left me this comment yesterday. Let me see if I can find it because it made so much sense. Okay? Hold on, beloveds. It made so much sense. And I want you all to pay attention because on here, we be having the receipts and we be breaking stories even before the big channels do. Y'all heard it here first. Now, y'all know other content creators be taking people's receipts and don't want to give people credit, but I want y'all to pay attention because at the end of the day, we're cooking with grease. Hold on. Let me see if I can find that darn comment because everything they said made a whole lot of sense. Give me a second. I'm looking for it right now. And that Cajun Navy guy is definitely sketchy. Okay. Hold on. Why didn't I screenshot it? Or did I? Let me see if I screenshot it. This is what somebody asked me too. They said, are you familiar with the United Dixie White Knights at the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur? And yes, I am, because like I told you all, I reported on them and their affiliations down there in Ocean Springs and the rest of Mississippi on July the 18th. Okay, July the 18th, when I did that video about the clandestine connection down there. That's one of the comments that I screenshot. Why didn't I screenshot that other one? Hold on. Anyway, I'll find that in a second. But in the meantime, let's go back to this video about the Dixie Mafia. Because these people are, no. Before we go back to that, let's go to the forensic scientist. Okay, what she had to say. She's also former CSI, by the way. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. We have the most nefarious chat on YouTube.
Murder and discard a body with all of these witnesses and nobody sees it. I'm a forensic scientist and a former CSI. We need to talk about the audio in the Nolan Wells case. If you think that in the audio you can hear people saying, Nolan, he's dead, that type of stuff, then we need to talk about the timeline and how it does not make any sense. The call was made to the tow company at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And in the call, the first thing that you hear the caller say is, we are at the tip of Horn Island and we need a tow. So they are still on the island where all of these people are anchored around. So it is unbelievable on its face to think that they have killed a person on the boat and nobody notices, and that they've somehow dumped his body off of the boat and nobody notices. But to really drill down on this, let's look at the timeline. Around 4 o'clock, the call is made to CTOW. We can see a very clear timeline of how the boat was moving based on the onboard GPS. This GPS tracks from the moment that they left the mainland to go out to Horn Island on the morning of July 4th until they got back to the mainland, and then for several days after, it shows that the boat didn't move. So let's look at the timeline. At about 10 o'clock in the morning, they leave the mainland, they go out to Horn Island, they get there at about 11:14. So it takes them a little bit more than an hour and 15 minutes to make the boat trip from the mainland out to the island. And then they stay there until about 4:30. And at 4:30, they start going back to the mainland at a slow rate of speed. They travel at that slow rate of speed for about 2 3/4 of a mile. And then at 15:25, so almost an hour after they departed the island, their speed picks up to 30 to 35 knots. Presumably this is when they have been tied off to a friend and the friend is towing them back in. And then they get back to the mainland. The boat goes back to the owner's house and it doesn't really move much after that. Really, once it gets back to the owner's house, the only thing that it does is the next morning, before Nolan's body is even found, it moves 52 feet. So maybe from the driveway into the garage or something like that. So if at 4 o'clock you are hearing people on the audio saying Nolan is dead while they are on the tip of Horn Island before they have left, that is based on not only their call, but the GPS tracker on the boat, then they would have to be screaming all of those things and having a corpse on their boat. And none of these people who were out there saw or heard it. And then they would quickly have to dump the body overboard before they got too far offshore while they were actively moving. Like they didn't even stop to dispose of this body. It just doesn't make any sense. Add into that the fact that the audio has been processed, it's been doctored, it was previously redacted. There's all sorts of issues with the length of these audio clips. And add into that it is almost impossible to discern what is actually being said if you're not reading the text on the screen. And that is why I'm telling you, this doesn't make any sense. I know that people are going to continue to come into my comments and tell me how biased I am. I'm not, I swear. I'm just reading the reports and telling you what does and does not make sense and what is not viable. And some of the rumors that are going on online just don't make any sense. They are just not viable explanations for what could reasonably happen in a situation like this.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to have to agree with her. I'm going to have to agree with her on parts of what she said. Here's the thing. I don't believe that they discarded anybody out there while all those people were around. Okay? I don't believe that they discarded the body while all those people were around. But guess what? I do believe that there was a body on one of those boats. And I believe that they took that body somewhere and then brought it back and placed it there. That's what I think. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. And that's why I also believe that the anonymous ranger, okay, that supposedly found Nolan's body is absolutely involved. I talked about that yesterday, and I broke that story that the anonymous ranger had not been identified. We don't have any statements, no pictures, no names, no nothing. Why haven't we heard from him? Why are we sitting up here listening to the Cajun Navy speak, who, in my opinion, is sketchy as hell, not to mention they're being sued right now for defamation, libel, and slander. I believe that they're in cahoots with all of this. They may even be tied to the Dixie Mafia or the Dixie White Knights. Who knows? Because somebody did send me something about them having affiliations with the Klan. Somebody sent me that a while ago. Okay, let me see if I can find that. But here's something, hold on, but here's something else though. Here is something else. Hold on just a second. Okay, so Don Lemon is scheduled to go on live at 10 o'clock. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock now. And he has the caption, autopsy leaked. Is it fake or is it real? So apparently the autopsy's been leaked. So we're going to listen to Don Lemon's broadcast in a second. But hold on. Before we get to it, let me tell you all something. Remember when they said Nolan was drunk? You remember when they said that? I'm going to tell you why. Remember when Officer Rage Batum Tap Dancing Tatum said there's going to show that there was something in Nolan's system? I'm going to tell you all why. I got the answer. I got the answer. Pay attention. I don't know how I didn't think of this before. Now, y'all know the Queen went to college for criminal justice, and I used to be a criminal justice professor. So let's talk about it. Here's the thing. Here is the thing. That's right. That ranger is a ghost or figment of their imagination. Okay. Remember when I told you all also that the Cajun Navy guy, Brian Trasher, said that they were up in the air 300 feet looking down. They saw Nolan's body and they saw two boats real close together. I believe Nolan was on one of those boats previously and they had just taken him off. That's just what I think. Now, I could be wrong, but then again, I could be right. Now, this is what I want you all to pay attention to. Remember how they said Nolan was absolutely going to have something in his system? Get a load of this, what I'm about to tell you. Did you all know that when a body decomposes, now I'm going to tell you this is why they keep saying that he's drunk. They want us to think that he got drunk and wandered off into the water and probably drowned accidentally. But here's the thing. The autopsy report is likely going to show that Nolan was drunk. And this is why. This is why. Because you see, a decomposed body can absolutely test positive for alcohol and seem as if the person was drunk due to something known as microbial fermentation, or to put it simply, putrefaction. Okay? Yeah, I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. Even if you weren't drunk, a decomposed body can test positive for alcohol and seem as if the person was drunk due to microbial fermentation or putrefaction. Okay, and this is all because of the bacterial and fungal action. So see, here's what happens. Let me explain it to you all. Just like I explained to you all the stages of decomposition when a body's found in water, aquatic decomposition is what it's called. But so now let's talk about this. So as the body decays, right, internal bacteria and fungi, they start to break down tissues and ferment sugars, producing natural ethanol, which is alcohol inside of the body, inside of the corpse. I want you all to pay attention because people don't know this information. So later on, when you hear somebody talking about this and they don't give me the credit, you need to call them out. Okay, you need to call them out because y'all heard it here first. Now, with that being said, this is why it makes it look like someone was drunk. And then guess what? It gives a false positive blood alcohol reading. See, the natural decomposition or decay process can create measurable blood alcohol concentration. It's known as BAC. So even if the person did not drink anything before they died, even if they didn't drink a single thing before they died, they can still seem as if they were, in fact, drunk. I want you all to pay attention because this is serious business here. Because this is what they're going to try to do to Nolan. They're going to try to make it seem as if Nolan was drunk, had illegal substances, and went out there and just accidentally drowned, nothing to see here, folks. Okay? And why would he have illegal substances in his system? Okay, I have several questions, but we'll talk about that in a second. So the typical levels, right, and this is post-mortem, the post-mortem microbial production, it usually results in lower BAC, often under about 0.07%. But in some cases of severe contamination, higher levels can also appear. Okay, please pay attention. Please pay attention. Like stuff, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. So with that all being said, yeah, this is what the devils are up to. So they think they're going to use this excuse to act like he was so drunk. Now, also, let me just say that forensic experts, they tend to check fluids, okay, like vitreous humor, okay, which is a fluid that's inside of the eyeballs, inside of the eye. It's isolated from basically isolated from gut bacteria and less prone to decay based on alcohol production. Okay, and then pathologists also look for specific breakdown products in the liver or the urine, such as specific higher alcohols or the absence of living metabolic byproducts. And this is to determine if the alcohol was consumed during life or created by bacteria after death. So they can tell which one it is. But in this case, since there's a whole cover up, okay, in this case, since there's a whole con game going on, in this case, since they're trying to hide the evidence, in this case, since they don't want certain people to be held accountable, allegedly, would they really tell us that the alcohol was made naturally in the body during the period and stages of decomposition post-mortem? Or would they lie and say that he was just drinking a whole bunch of liquor? He was so drunk. Okay, he was so drunk, and he just drank all this liquor while he was out there. But here's the thing, I absolutely think they'll lie about it. Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? And what's been taking so long with this autopsy report? I have several questions. Okay, I have several questions. Now, with that being said, hold on. Hold on, beloved. I'm trying to see if there's anything on here. I have this peer-reviewed information, and I want to share it on the screen, but I don't think there's a need to, because, honey, all these fancy words and jargon they're using would just be, it would just be confusing for you guys. But anyway, for some of you. Okay, so here's what it says. The factor most frequently, because I'm just fact checking myself. Okay, now, because it's been years since I studied all of this. So the factors most frequently implicated in the mechanism of postmortem ETOH production in corpses has been considered the #1 nature of microbes present, the availability of various types of substrates, and the temperature and time. Complication in the interpretation of blood alcohol concentration could arise due to the atypical distribution of ETOH in the body compartments after death. Specimens to blood ETOH ratios reported in the literature are presented. Okay, so anyway, that just confirms what I was just telling you all. I just wanted to do a fact check to make sure I remember the research correctly. Because like I said, it's been years since the Queen has researched this stuff. Please pay attention. So yeah, so that explains all of that. That explains all of that. Now, let's go back to this video, okay, and finish hearing about this nefarious Dixie Mafia, and then we're going to talk about the Dixie White Knights. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. With it in the first place. And this is because I'm going to fast forward a little bit in a minute, because I want you all to hear the part about when they murdered that judge, okay, and the judge's wife.
Okay, so
there were hundreds of victims. One guy in Kansas mortgaged his house and sent $30,000 to the scammers over a period of months. Now, to make matters worse, some of the prisoners eventually confessed the scheme to victims and threatened to out them if they told anyone. Meanwhile, the Dixie Mafia received hundreds of thousands of dollars during this time.
Okay, so let me tell you all what they're talking about right here. In this part of the PowerPoint, I was explaining, in fact, how these prisoners, these members of the Dixie Mafia, how they ended up getting caught and they went to prison. And while they were in prison, they had this scam where they were making millions of dollars. And the reason they were making millions of dollars is because they were going online, or basically they were not going online, but they were reaching out to these gay men and acting like they wanted to get with them. And then once they did that and they were in communication with them, they would have the men sending them all kinds of money. And then they were using that money, some of it to pay their attorneys and all of that. Now they ended up accumulating millions of dollars and they gave it to their attorney and told him to keep it. Okay, so let's get back into it.
But the operation unraveled when $500,000 suddenly just went missing. Nix's former lawyer, Pete Hallett, who later became mayor of Biloxi, blamed the missing money on his former law firm partner, Vincent Sherry, who was then a judge of the 2nd Mississippi District Circuit Court. So he just told him that his friend took all the money. He likely had the money himself, but just didn't want to give it back.
Yeah, that's the oldest trick in the book. My business partner took the money and ran. Okay, please pay attention.
So the high-profile murder of Judge Vincent Sherry and his councilwoman wife, Margaret Sherry. You see, by the fact that Hallett, the mayor, lied and said, well, I don't know if he lied, but by the fact that he said that his friend, Judge Vincent Sherry, had the cash, well, that's what led to him being murdered. Now, Biloxi, this is in Biloxi, Mississippi in 1987. The prominent couple were found dead in their home. Each of them had been shot 4 times in the head. The execution-like manner of their murder and the lack of any signs of a break-in led police to think it was a gangland hit, and although their leads did not indeed go down that path, they soon met a wall of silence. Now, the case soon went cold, and in 1989, the Sherry's family hired Rex Armistead to help them find the killers. Armistead was a private investigator who'd also been a highway patrol officer and had helped put several members of the Dixie Mafia in prison already. It turned out that the Dixie Mafia scam, where they had targeted gay men, was very lucrative. They were even blackmailing anyone who responded, demanding larger sums of cash. They gave this cash to their lawyer, Pete Hallett, for safekeeping, but he spent the cash. That's what happened. He actually spent most of it. Now, when it came time to hand it over, he just told them that Vincent Sherry had taken it. Hallett and Vincent Sherry had been law partners since 1981. Hallett had been elected mayor in 1989 and then lost the re-election bid in 1993. Now, Fabian, that's one of the members of the Dixie gang, testified that Nix ordered the Sherry slayings because Hallett had convinced Nix that Vincent Sherry had stolen some of Nix's proceeds from the scam. Fabian estimated the scam may have collected $5 million. Isn't that something? Now they got all this money from sitting behind bars, telling lies and posting fake ads and pictures. Now, Margaret Sherry was a fiery Republican in a public slap fight with the current Democratic mayor. She wanted to clean up the Biloxi strip of seedy nightclubs and gambling, which of course the Dixie Mafia ran all of those. And she wanted to expose corruption in City Hall. This led to Sherry's execution style murder, but it took until 1997 to tie in Hallett, local crime organization head Kirksey McCord Nix, and the trigger man into the scheme. So this murder of Judge Vincent Sherry and his wife, who was a councilwoman, Margaret Sherry, it took a decade before they were able to tie them to it and figure out what actually happened. Now, according to court testimony, Hallett knew about the murder plot against the Sherrys and failed to notify law enforcement. Now, mind you, at the time, this man was the mayor. So they really had, political ties and law enforcement ties. So they were able to just commit all of this criminal activity and just go unchecked most of the time. Now, former Biloxi striptease lounge owner Mike Gillick was the chief prosecution witness when Hallett and 3 others were convicted in 1997. The U.S. Supreme Court denied Hallett's appeals in 2000. Gillick, John Ramson, Nix, and Nix's girlfriend, Cherie LaRochart, they were convicted in 1991 on a federal conspiracy charge. Gillick was released from prison in July of 2000 after serving 9 years of a 20-year sentence and died of cancer in April of 2012. Fabian, who had congestive heart failure and other health problems, died in June in the Mississippi State Penitentiary in Parchman. Hallett was convicted in 1997 of conspiracy to commit racketeering, obstruction of justice, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison. He likely didn't take the plea deal because they usually give you a plea deal and you're facing up to 20 and he got 18. So I don't think he took the plea deal. Now, since then, very little has been heard about the cornbread Cosa Nostra. But did the Dixie Mafia's grip on the American South really end in the 1990s? We certainly hope this deals them a major blow. That's what one of the attorneys said.
Now, let me just tell you all, listen to this. That same attorney that was speaking about the Dixie Mafia, he said he has no illusions. Okay, he said he doesn't have any illusion that the Dixie Mafia will still be operating down there in Mississippi. Okay, but guess what? You all remember when Brandon Rage Batum Tatum said illegal substances will show up in Nolan's system, and someone was 100% sure. Put a 1 in the chat if you all remember that. Put a 1 in the chat if you all remember me playing the video of Rage Batum Tatum saying that the toxicology report will show that there was 100% illegal substances in Nolan's system. Y'all remember that, right? You know why he's so certain? You know why he's so positive about that? I'm going to tell you why. I'm so glad you asked. Now, just remember, you heard it here first on the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show, where we break the news before these big channels do. Okay, so here's why. There's a very logical reason. Because just like I told you all about the alcohol, right? The same thing applies to illegal substances. So let's talk about it. You see, the fact of the matter is a decomposed body can also not only seem as though the person was drunk and had been heavily drinking when they passed away, but a decomposed body can yield false positive results for illegal substances during preliminary testing. Okay. So at the end of the day, this is why he's so sure about it. Okay, this is why he's so sure about it. Now, someone down there has been giving this thug secret information because he's working for them. Okay, first I thought he was all cap. But no, someone told him this. Someone told him this. And guess what? I want you all to pay attention to something else that you heard here first. Remember what I told you about Dr. Benjamin Hudson, Warren's father? He's a doctor of what? He's a doctor of who? Let's go back to it because I told you all this at least twice. Okay, let's get into it. Like stuff, everyone, please. Like and share. I'm about to pull up the receipt again for anyone who missed it. And this is why they're trying to sue everybody and trying to shut everybody up. And I like their nerve because what they're in fact doing is, it seems to me like they're trying to use some of the same tactics that the Dixie Mafia and the Dixie White Knights use. Okay, please pay attention. Don Lemon still hasn't gone live yet. I'm waiting for that. Okay, so we can find out what he's talking about with his leaked autopsy results. But let's get into it. Here it is right here. Okay. Dr. Benjamin Hudson, MD, emergency medicine. And what does it say down here? Subspecialties, medical toxicology. Medical toxicology, and let's talk about it. Emergency medicine. Emergency medicine specialists can rapidly assess and treat patients with catastrophic injuries. Common reasons to visit emergency rooms include heart attack, rug overdose, shocks, burns, and all of that. Now, they're going to try to make it look like he possibly was drunk and had a rug overdose or something, or took some rugs. They're going to be, that's likely going to show in the system. And I'm not saying that Dr. Benjamin Hudson would have anything to do with Nolan's toxicology report. I'm just simply pointing out that I find it very interesting that his subspecialty is medical toxicology. So convenient, okay? So convenient. And I also wonder, were those illegal substances that they claim, that certain people claim that people were taking, I just wonder where they got those from and why the police have not looked into it to find out who supplied the rugs and the alcohol. Okay, the rugs and the alcohol. I have several questions. Now, let's talk more about these illegal substances being produced in the body, okay, or something that would seem as though it were illegal substances. Check this out. Because what illegal substance did Tatum say was going to be in his system? Do you all remember? Didn't he say it was Coca-Cola? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember that he alleged that it would be Coca-Cola. Put a 1 in the chat only if you remember that Rage Batum, No Good Tatum, said that it would be likely traces of Coca-Cola found in Nolan's system, right? So let's continue, okay? So here's the thing. As I said, the decomposed body can yield false positive results for illegal substances during preliminary testing through though the mechanism is different than it is for the alcohol. Now, while bacteria do not actually create complex street rugs, okay, the chemical changes of decomposition frequently cause standard rug screens to flag a body as positive. Now, initial postmortem rug testing usually relies on rapid screening, okay? Hold on, beloveds. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, now let's get back into it. I had to check something really quick. Okay, so initial postmortem rug testing usually relies on rapid immunoassay, which is similar to rapid urine cups, okay? Immunoassay screens. It relies on rapid immunoassay screens, which is similar to urine cups. So it's like taking a urine test, basically. You know, when they tell you to pee in the cup. Okay, now these tests look for specific molecular shapes. And as the body decomposes or rots, proteins begin to break down into compounds like phenethylamine and tyramine, which are putrefaction byproducts. Okay, so these things are all being done within the body. Okay, these things are all occurring within the body as it decomposes. So this is why Brandon Rage Batum Tatum was saying this, that he was so positive. This is what he was saying. So basically, I'm going to tell you all this right now. He's literally telling on himself and telling on whoever told him that. Because if you ask me, this all means that someone told him this, and they told him this because they know how the body breaks down, and they know what chemicals and microbes and bacteria and all of that break down when the body is in the stages of decomposition. Okay, so this is how he has this information, in my opinion. Okay, this is why he said that and why he was so certain. Remember how I kept saying, how is he so certain? Okay, and how's the person who told him this so certain? So this putrefaction, okay, that's how you say it, putrefaction. Okay, now with that all being said, let's continue because this is all so crazy. Hold on. Let me find my place. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say they have these putrefaction byproducts, which are structurally similar to amphetamines. Are y'all listening? And can trigger a false positive. Advanced decomposition produces high amounts of lactate dehydrogenase. Let me see how to pronounce this, honey, because I don't know what this word is. I have never seen it. Okay, hold on. Dehydro. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Dehydro. dehydrogenase. I think that's how you say it. Dehydrogenase. Okay, dehydrogenase. Okay, so anyway, honey, it's got some serious words in here. It's all I'm telling you. This is peer-reviewed research. Okay, so goes on to say, now you see, here's the thing. What made me think about this is when I remembered what the alcohol does. Windows, if there's no sound, you need to go out and come back in, beloved. Somebody tell them, somebody give Widow's son, I'm sorry, somebody tell Widow's son in the chat to go out and come back in because they're saying they can't hear. Okay, saying they can't hear. Hold on. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Hold on, I'm checking something real quick. Dehydrogenous. The word almost sounds like androgynous. Okay, so it's dehydrogenous. That's how you say it. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get back into it. I don't like to be mispronouncing words if I can help it. Okay, so it goes on to say that advanced decomposition produces high amounts of lactate dehydrogenase. Okay, now these compounds directly interfere with laboratory assay chemicals, causing false positive readings for opioids and other narcotics. Do you all hear this? Do you all hear this? Okay, people like that come in to distract from the discussion. Well, if anybody's in here distracting moderators, you all know what to do. Okay, you all know what to do. Put them in a timeout real quick. Okay, now that being said, let's continue. So these compounds directly interfere with laboratory assay chemicals, causing false positive readings for opioids and other narcotics. Now, if a person legally took a therapeutic dose of a prescription drug, such as anxiety or anti-anxiety medication or a painkiller, before they passed away, decomposition causes cell walls to burst. Now, this allows the drugs to leak out of tissues and concentrate in the remaining blood, making it look like a massive illegal overdose. Y'all hear this? It looks like an overdose. Now let's talk about the degradation paradox. So conversely, decomposition can also do the exact opposite by hiding rug use. So street rugs like Coca-Cola and the other one that makes people fall asleep, it starts with an H. They're highly unstable and rapidly break down or hydrolyze in a decaying environment. So if a body is severely decomposed, a standard blood test might completely miss a lethal dose of Coca-Cola because the rug has vanished. But wait a minute. Rage Tatum said that there would be proof of, didn't he say Coca-Cola? I'm pretty sure he did. But it says right here in this peer-reviewed research that would not be the case because it could absolutely vanish. So anyway, goes on to say how forensic scientists cut through this. Okay, to prevent a false accusation of rug abuse, toxicologists bypass the standard blood and urine test on decomposed remains. So instead of rapid screens, they use advanced machinery to chart the exact molecular weight of the chemicals. This easily separates true rugs from look-alike putrefaction chemicals. Okay? That's how they tell the difference. Scientists will test hair, fingernails, or bone marrow. These structures do not absorb the chemical byproducts of decay, preserving a clean record of what was actually in the person's system, okay, as they were living. So they will know the difference. But here's the thing. If it's a shady medical examiner, such as Stacy Turner, with all the things she's been accused of. If it's someone shady like her, they might absolutely use this information to paint a false narrative. Now, pathologists look for specific markers that only a living, functioning liver can produce. And if a rug is present, but its living metabolic byproduct is missing, the result is flagged as highly suspicious. All right. So all very interesting. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Why hasn't Don Lemon started this darn broadcast yet? I need to hear what's going on. And there's over 4,000 people waiting for him. I thought I'd get to the live late, but he's clearly late. Okay, is he on some other time zone? He was getting ready to be rug tested for football. He wouldn't have done that. Exactly. That's what I said. Not to mention, listen, not to mention, we should know that he wasn't actually drunk because his mother said that one of his coaches was there on Horn Island and they ran into him and spent several minutes talking to him and said Nolan seemed fine. So if Nolan's coach was out there, do y'all really think he would have been out there drunk, and so drunk, in fact, that he could barely walk, was moving slow, and had slurred speech? Okay? I absolutely don't believe it. I absolutely don't believe it. So they're going to likely use the stages of decomposition that could mimic someone having been drunk. They may use that for the autopsy reports. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if they did. And if they do, I just want you all to pay attention to this research because that would explain it. So they can sit up here and try to paint the lies and narratives if they choose to. Keisha said exactly. They wanted his body to decompose on purpose, hoping to hide the ish. Okay. Songwriter Sonny said Nolan was perfectly fine until he wasn't. Exactly. Somebody said Don Lemon's always making people wait. Really? Okay, so he's worse than me. Glad to know I'm in good company because y'all know I'd be late. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's go to the video that I did July the 18th when I talked about the Klansmen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Because if y'all don't think the Dixie Mafia and the Dixie White Knights are in cahoots, okay, I absolutely believe they are. I absolutely believe they are. And what I really want to know is who is this nefarious ranger who is still anonymous. Okay, please pay attention. Hold on, I'm waiting for this ad. Okay, who confirmed Wednesday in an exclusive statement to the media that, hold on, we urge all Mississippians to expose the corruption in the 1920s and appears on various historical membership materials and medallions. So that's something that they put on their medallions. Okay, now let me see what this UDWK stands for. Let me see here. IC says, how do we know if Nolan took it willingly? Well, he didn't take it. Okay, we're not saying he took it, beloved. Okay, at the end of the day, I don't think he took anything. That's the point of this discussion. Are you listening? Okay, no one said he took anything. I said they may try to act as though he did because during the stages of decomposition, please listen carefully and pay attention, the body can mimic signs of taking illegal substances, and it'll produce false positive testing for things such as opioids and other narcotics. That's what I said. Okay, now let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, it says it's a recognized historical Klan acronym or abbreviation. In internet slang, it means you don't want to know. Oh, okay. You don't want to know. That's what that stands for. Y'all remember that episode of Sanford and Son where that guy was breaking into Julio's house? And then Fred said, who is that in there? And the man said, you don't know and you don't want to know. That's what it's given. Okay, please pay attention. These people are absolutely devilish. Okay, now let's talk about Klan politics in Mississippi. Like, everyone, please like and share. The KKK resurfaces this time with political intentions. Okay, this is from 2018 as well. The Ku Klux Klan is getting back into Mississippi electoral politics. Okay, they're all in on it, in my opinion. D Major says, Don's channel says they're having technical issues. Okay, beloved, thank you for that information and thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. So let's continue. Oh, and by the way, thank you for your contribution, beloved. Did I just say that? Okay, I'm sorry, I'm multitasking. Last week, the United Dixie White Knights, a South Mississippi-based chapter of the KKK, allegedly sent a video of a burning cross to the leader of the Mississippi Rising Coalition, a Gulf Coast-based group working to change the state flag, which is the last in the nation containing the Confederate emblem. Following the backlash, which included national media attention, the group denied sending the video and posted a statement disparaging the coalition and criticizing reporters who covered the story, and included a political threat to top legislative Republican who has said he wants a new flag. Okay, then they came out and admitted that they sent it. Now, Philip Gunn is high upon our list of turncoats to stab Mississippi voters. Okay, we already got that part. And so the Ocean Springs mayor and board of aldermen have emboldened extremists to act out their true white supremacist feelings. Okay, a plaintiff in the suit and Jackson County NAACP President Curly Clark said, we are here to see if we can find some equality for all of Ocean Springs citizens. Now, responding to reports of the video, the KKK's chapter leader, Brent Waller, vowed increased political action to keep the state flag flying in an official capacity. Okay, saying if we don't start getting in politics, they'll, and that means the activists who want to change the flag, just run the narrative. Okay, that's what he said. He told Mississippians in a news publication that on a telephone interview that Monday, saying they try to censor us to keep us and the far right from being heard. We're living in a state of tyranny today. That's the way I see it. It just makes us sick. Now, during the interview, he called out Gunn, who is the most prominent Republican leader in the state, to call for a new state flag. Gunn's office declined to comment. So he says, I'm going to do everything in my power to throw that bastard out on his head. This is what the Klan leader said. When asked what specifically Waller planned, he said, I know that trick. I can't give out my strategy. Then they'll be ready for it. Less than 3 minutes later, Waller laid out his political strategy. Here's what he said. We're going to blast his district with flyers. Maybe we'll work on his campaign and get inside info. So basically saying they'll get people to infiltrate. Okay, if he rears his head and pops up much more, I'm just going to endorse him. See how he'll like that. When asked if he thought his endorsement would hurt Gunn, he replied, no, it will. Now, when asked why, he said, because they'll associate him with us. No one ever wants that. We've had success with that in the past. These people are something else. Now, when asked about which campaign that strategy worked, Waller pointed to Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. Some brothers in Alabama endorsed Hillary, he said. Ain't none of them boys supported her, but the press sure ran with it. Local and national news outlets did cover that 2016 endorsement, but nearly every report expressed skepticism that the endorsement was genuine or carried any weight. Now, he says they didn't really support her, but like I told you all, her husband, Bill Clinton, was alleged and rumored to have been involved with the Dixie Mafia. Okay, with the Dixie Mafia. Please pay attention. I'll pull up the receipt in a second. The KKK was formed after the civil rights to terrorize blacks. Okay, we know all of that. But I find it interesting. Now, they say recent years have seen a spate of Klan rallies and other activity in support of the Confederate battle flag, which came under renewed scrutiny after the murders of 9 churchgoers by a white neo-Confederate named Dylan Roof in 2015, and against the removal of Confederate statues around the country. So the Southern Poverty Law Center's estimates that in 2017, the United Dixie White Knights had at least 5 flyer campaigns in Mississippi and Alabama. In 2016, the group distributed flyers in a Black neighborhood in Florence and in the Jackson neighborhood of Belhaven. They say Heidi Berrick, the director of the SPLC's intelligence project, which covered hate groups and their activities, does not believe the group is growing. However, Waller would not say this week how many members are in the group, saying that even though it's nearly impossible to know membership numbers of any group, the claim that they're one of the largest KKK groups in America is far from true. This is what Barrick said. Now, in the months leading up to former Imperial Wizard Brent Waller closing the doors to UDWK in July of 2017, it was clear that it was struggling for members and was trying to form alliances with other Klan groups and hate groups in an effort to stay afloat. While we've seen some activity from UDWK in 2018, we don't believe that the group is gaining significant numbers. So from the investigations into voting rights and the future of democracy to deep reported, okay, I'm sorry, that's something else. I'd have to read all that. So they say they're not growing, but there's other Klan groups that they're trying to join. Okay, and that's interesting because here's the thing. According to my research, as I told you, they have 7 Klan groups, and this is according to the Southern Poverty, the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen so we can take a look at this report. And guess what? This report is from 2024. Okay, so just 2 years ago.
This short 59-page book will make 6 figures on Amazon this year. In fact, I paid ghostwriters to create.
Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Just waiting for this ad to end. Just a few more seconds. It's not giving me the ability to just skip past it. Okay, here we go. So, I don't know. Let me just tell you all something. I am really sitting here tripping. I'm sitting here not even realizing. I don't know what I'm thinking because I'm trying to check back and forth to see if Don's on live yet. But so I'm not even realizing I could have skipped past the ad. Like I'm acting as though this is real time. This video is a previous video. What was I thinking? Okay, well let's continue. Hold on. Are y'all looking out for the I'm going to share this on the screen. You know, since the trolls are in here, I would like to know what they think about their history of hatred and racism. What do y'all think about it, trolls? I have questions. Jim Hood elaborates on racist photos his fraternity published in yearbook. So Jim Hood was the 39th Attorney General. Now, he was 4 terms, okay, in Mississippi from 2004 to 2020, and he was friends with Governor Tate Reeves. Both of them have been supposedly in blackface, okay? That's the picture right there. Okay, this is a 1983 University of Mississippi yearbook, shows members of the Pi Kappa Alpha fraternity in face paint. Okay, let's just call it what it is, blackface. Now, the state's lone statewide Democrat talked more about racist photographs that surfaced last week from his college fraternity when Hood was a member in the early 1980s. Okay, in the photo, members of Pi Kappa Alpha are wearing face paint and dressed like indigenous tribesmen. The controversy follows the emergence of similar photos from the fraternity to which Republican Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves belonged at Millsaps, and the revelation of Democratic Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's medical school yearbook page, which features a man in blackface and another in full Klan regalia. Do y'all hear this? All of these people down there all these people down there, I find it very interesting. These politicians, okay, down there, the law enforcement down there, these people are not to be trusted. Now, a spokeswoman for Reeves, the GOP frontrunner for governor, and now he is the governor, issued a short statement acknowledging that Reeves was a member of Kappa Alpha Order, which holds an Old South costume formal honoring Confederate culture. Reeves in his office has not elaborated further on the issue. As of press time on Monday, the Senate, where Reeves presides, was still in session. Said we will update the story after adjournment if Reeves speaks to the press. So I find this interesting because that man, this was all found out before he became the governor. And he still became the governor. Isn't that something? That should tell us everything we need to know right there. This was all exposed before he was even the governor. And he still got the position. Wow. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Now, with that being said, hold on. He also spoke at some Confederate thing and then tried to gaslight by bringing up that a black man was also there. Okay, isn't that what they often do? Governor Tate Reeves faces criticism over tradition of proclaiming Confederate Heritage Month.
Check this out. This is how I can afford this Jeep Wrangler.
I was paying $200.
Hold on just a second. Okay. Yeah, he was the governor at that time. So anyway, he tried to gaslight by bringing the black man into it, even though the black man, I don't know what he had to do with it, but nonetheless, that doesn't negate the fact that he was there and he's the whole governor. Okay, like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Okay, I see you all saying that Don Lemon is live. I'll go to him in a second. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about Bill Clinton. Let's talk about Bill Clinton because, like I told you all, there were rumors of his ties to the Dixie Mafia with their nefarious selves. Okay, let me just pull this up. Okay, it says, yes, you are completely right to the point out of that distinction. Okay, in the world of political folklore and underground rumors, Bill Clinton's name has obviously absolutely been linked directly to the Dixie Mafia. While official investigations look for credible evidence, the rumor mill operates on a different frequency, and those specific narratives have circulated in books, alternative media, and conspiracy circles for decades. Now, the Dixie Mafia label in many anti-Clinton books and documentaries from the 1990s, there was one called the Clinton Chronicles. Critics use the term Dixie Mafia as a catch-all phrase to describe the network of Arkansas political insiders, law enforcement officials, and smugglers they claimed Clinton controlled. Now, I want you all to pay attention to this. Do you all think this was just rumors? If the president of the United States was doing any of this stuff before becoming the president, they wouldn't let this stuff out. They would absolutely try to hide it and sweep it under the rug. Okay, please pay attention. So with that all being said, I absolutely believe that he was affiliated. Now they go on to say, the underground rumors frequently allege that Clinton used this state agency to launder millions of dollars in rug profits from Southern criminal syndicates. The Mafia versus the Dixie Mafia, or the Dixie Mafia versus the Dixie Mafia. Now, the confusion often comes from how the term is used. Law enforcement used it for the Gulf Coast gang. Okay, but Clinton's fiercest critics used Dixie Mafia and the Arkansas syndicate interchangeably to describe his alleged circle. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. I absolutely think Bill Clinton was involved in it, because why would they have been saying that? And if it was a lie, why didn't he sue? Okay, why didn't he sue? Please pay attention. Okay, so now let's go back to the footage. Thank you in advance. Started from Gone with the Wind, and she's supposed to be Mammy. The leader of the secret PSIs or PSIs are prepared to open their chapter meeting. The photo caption on the Delta Psi yearbook page reads, okay, so a 1970 University of Mississippi yearbook shows a member of Delta Psi fraternity dressed in full KKK robe and hat, honey, holding 2 burning torches. I mean, this is their history, and they are absolutely proud of it. Okay, they are absolutely proud of it. Let me share this on the screen. Y'all see it? Hold on, let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. Nah, that's as big as it'll get. But I want you all to pay attention. The amount of hate that you have to have in your heart just to be doing these things for decades. Okay, so here you have the person, I guess that's the person that opens up. It says, bottom, Delta Psi's wait to present Santa Claus with his key to the chimney. The leader of the secret Psi's prepared to open their chapter meeting. So this is all of them up there. And then as you can see over here, someone in a whole clan regalia holding burning torches. It looks like they're at a grave site. That looks like a tombstone. I can't tell what it is. And there's a tree in the background. These people are something else. And then they talk about God, okay, and all of that. But I absolutely believe they worship Satan, because there has been stories reported of them doing satanic rituals and all kinds of stuff. Okay, the clan, that is. All right, so... And I already showed you all the preacher receipts the other day, how they do these initiations and all of that stuff on July the 4th. And this is absolutely crazy. So now, so they say the main active Klan groups are in Alabama. Okay, I'm going to share this on the screen real quick. I'm going to share this in the screen real quick, and then we're going to start talking about Nolan. I just want you all to see the nefarious history. Okay.
Look at that pig. She's so ugly.
Alabama City chapter. Okay, they got the Elkmont, True Invisible Empire Knights, Ashley. Now, this is the Klan groups. There are so many Klan groups operating in the United States that many people don't even, properly wouldn't even believe. And in fact, there's 7 groups down there in Mississippi, just in Mississippi. Okay, now think about that. If you all think we're going to get to the truth of the matter, depending on law enforcement down there, when much of the time in Mississippi, specifically, law enforcement is absolutely involved in the Klan. Okay, it has been historically. Now, I'm going to say allegedly, okay, but historically, they have been involved. The Klan has been involved with the police involved with the Klan. I'm not saying that's still going on right now to this day. I'm just saying that I think that's still going on right now to this day. Okay, please pay attention. The Dixie White Knights, United Klans of America, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Prattville Traditionalist American Knights of the KKK, Anniston United Klans of America. They have them in Arkansas. The city chapter, Vandale International Keystone Knights of the KKK, Harrison Knights of the KKK, Harrison Party Veterans League, Harrison Soldiers of the Cross Training Institute, Harrison KKK Radio. I mean, these people are everywhere. I want y'all to pay attention. City chapter, even in Colorado, okay? Ku Klux, KLOS Knights of the KKK, Florida, St. James City, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Loyal. Hold on, Byron says, we are silly. White folks don't like you in the North either. We just gullible. Speak for yourself, beloved, because I'm sure most of us would know that there's racist people all over this entire country, okay, whether it's North or South. But the bottom line is the Klan has historically been known to be more prominent in the South. They control more things in the South, but absolutely they're all over the United States. That's why you need to be listening, because if you pay attention, I'm naming where the Klan is, okay? Please pay attention, and it is in the North as well. Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Georgia, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Rockledge, United Northern and Southern Knights of the KKK, Illinois, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Chicago, United Northern and Southern Knights of the KKK. Let me tell you all something. While these people want to come out here, please pay attention to what I'm telling you. While these people want to come out here, the trolls and the haters, want to come out here and talk about the death toll in Chicago and the people getting killed every weekend in Chicago. Here's the thing. What have I told you all before? What have I told you all before? Put a 1 in the chat if you remember me telling you this. I have told you all before that the people in Chicago have been saying for years. The first time I heard it was in 2016 or 2017, almost 10 years ago. But they have been saying that all of these shootings and everything that happened over the weekends, not saying that there isn't any gang violence or drive-bys or whatever, but they have been saying that all these years there have been racist, wanton supremacist people dressed in derrick suits. Okay, dressed in derrick suits. For some of you who don't know exactly what a derrick suit is and how anyone could be fooled into thinking the person's black, I'll show you in a second. Okay. Okay, so now let's get into it because Rupert McClendon says Grandpa Atkerson and the Cito owner, Chris Ward, are great friends. They have clan ties. Are you serious? Cito has 4 hubs on the coastline next to Grandpa's home. They had the body on the 4th and the 5th. Thank you for this insight, beloved. Would you like to come up here and tell us more about this? Would you like me to drop you the link? Because I want to hear this. I want to hear it. Do you want to come up here, beloved? Let me just drop you the link. And thank you for your insight to the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, let me know in the chat, beloved, if you are willing to come up here. Let me know in the chat, please. In the meantime, let's get back to this video. At the end of the day, law enforcement, okay, they have said it's law enforcement and other people that are in hate groups. Okay, so there you go right there. They absolutely have the Klan in Illinois. Indiana, Madison Fraternal Order of the Cross, Kokomo, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Monroe City, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Kokomo, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Kentucky, okay, Georgetown Trinity White Knights of the KKK, Dawson Springs Imperial Clans of America Knights of the KKK, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Frankfurt, Original Night Riders Knights of the KKK, Louisiana, Converse, Aryan Nations Knights of the KKK, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Maryland, Braddock Heights, Traditional Rebel Knights of the KKK, Loyal White Knights of the KKK. Now listen, I know
I just found out that if you have 2 cars on your car insurance, this is 100% what you should be doing.
This may seem lengthy. You may be thinking, why is she going through all that? Because I want y'all to know what's going on in your state. When you see Black people swinging from trees and they lie and say that they did it to themselves, this is who's doing it. Okay, this is who's doing it. And like I told you all before, they're going to continue to lie and say that these people died at their own hands because ever since Beulah May Donald sued the Klan and bankrupted them in 1981, okay, and got her settlement for $7 million and even got the building they worked in or the building they held their meetings in, they will never, ever say again that it was a lynching, okay, because they don't want the Klan to be bankrupted across America. Okay, but let's continue. That's why I want you all to know where these devils are. Maine, Loyal White Knights of the KKK. Missouri, Potosi, Traditional American Knights of the KKK, Mississippi, Bruce, Mississippi White Knights of the KKK, Jackson, United Dixie White Knights of the KKK, the ones we just talked about, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Montana, okay, Great Falls, Rocky Mountain Knights of the KKK, Great Falls, United Klans of America, North Carolina, Eden, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Lenore, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Pelham, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Mayak, Original Night Riders Knights of the KKK. Pay attention to how most of them have more than one chapter, okay? Nevada, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, New York, Alamont, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Ohio, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Columbus, Original Night Riders Knights of the KKK, Pennsylvania, Oil City, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Harrisburg, Original Night Riders, Knights of the KKK, Harrisburg, True Invisible Empire, Traditionalist American Knights of the KKK, South Carolina, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Gilbert, Original Night Riders, Knights of the KKK, Tennessee. Look how many are in Tennessee. Do you all see this? I know not to go there. Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Nashville, Southern Mountain Knights of the KKK, Butler, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Kingsport, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Knoxville, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Memphis, Ku Klux Knights of the KKK, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Nashville, Original Night Riders, Knights of the KKK, Alcoa, Southern Mountain Knights of the KKK, Clinton, Southern Mountain Knights, Franklin, Harbor Gates, okay, the Southern Mountain Knights for both of those. Texas, Campbell, Texas Knights of the KKK, Gatesville, Ku Klux Knights, Quancy, Ku Klux Knights, not sure if I said that right, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Livingston, Original Night Riders, Knights of the KKK, Virginia, Loyal White Knights of the KKK, Charleston, Original Night Riders, Knights of the KKK in West Virginia, Beckley, Original Night Riders, Knights of the KKK, Loyal White Knights of the KKK. Do you all see this? These are all active, not the past. These are all active Klan groups in the United States, but the devils want to tell us that we are racist. I implore them to pull out and pick out one Black hate group. That's what I would love for them to do. Okay, one Black hate group. Okay, and also there was another man who drowned as well. Okay, 18-year-old Timothy Magambo, the son of Uganda CID Director Major. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to stop right there because I think we get the gist of it. So like I said, that's a video that I actually did about Nolan on the 18th of July because I felt like the Klan, specifically the Dixie White Knights down there in Ocean Springs, okay, and Biloxi and other places, I absolutely felt like they were silencing people. Okay, that's what I felt like. They were silencing people, and that's why no one is talking. So now this guy comes out talking about the Dixie Mafia and that they're still alive and active down there. Absolutely. That makes all the sense to me. And so it's very plausible that whatever happened to Nolan, these people have helped to cover it up. Okay, the White Knights, the Dixie White Knights and the Dixie Mafia. Now, mind you, this is all speculation, and we don't know if any of it to be true. Okay, we don't know if any of it to be true. I seen that one heavily informative. Thank you, beloved. It was, wasn't it? Now let's go see what Don Lemon's over here talking about. Don Lemon said that autopsy report was fake. Well, here's the thing. We knew it was fake, or at least we should have, because that's gone to the grand jury. And I told you how people are putting out BS just to try to muddy the waters. Don Lemon seems to think there's too many conspiracies going on online. Hold on, Queen, they're up in our prison system too. Absolutely, honey. They're all throughout this entire country. Okay, they permeate the entire system. And this is why they got rid of the Black Panther Party for self-defense and didn't get rid of the Klan, who, by the way, as I keep telling you all, is registered as a Christian group. How nefarious is that? Hold on, let me put an overlay on this. We're going to listen for a couple of minutes. I'm not going to listen to this man's whole video.
Excuse for no matter what happened, no matter what the outcome, for someone to die. And if you think that that is folly or fun, that, oh, you know it's coming, that someone's dead, no. The same people who think stuff like that are the same people who are offended by people criticizing and analyzing Charlie Kirk's death. When people say, you know, Charlie Kirk, I didn't think the man should die that way, but he said some horrible shit about people. I think he was racist. Not I think he was racist. The things that came out of his mouth were racist. Those same people are like, oh, how dare you? Oh my God, how do you talk about Charlie that way? And then, you know, they're like, oh, crying about their friend. Oh. Yeah, man shouldn't have died. But he espoused some horrible views that did not need to be in the arena. Should not be part of the way Americans think about each other. Have you already made up your minds? Because if we have already decided, then this stopped being a search for the truth a long time ago. It became something else. It became a fight over whose story wins, which team wins. And that part really, really worries me, because the only story that really matters, and I'm back to it again, is the thing that people are forgetting about in all of this. Which team wins? This creator fighting with this creator. This one's owning this person. This one's calling somebody else a name. That's all in it, all well and good. That happens. But the one thing that really matters is Nolan's story, is Nolan Wells. So what I will say to you is that let's keep this real, everybody. Let's stop being on teams and let's listen for a minute for the facts. Even with your confirmation bias, listen for the facts. Whether you are team, whatever it is, you should be team truth. But if you're team Nolan, or your team family, or your team friends, or if you're team law enforcement, no matter what it is, listen with an open mind. Now, I'm not saying be a Pollyanna, be Pollyannish and be stupid, because circumstantial evidence is, people go to prison on circumstantial evidence. And remember, as they have been warned by pathologists, with a pathologist on, first thing she said was that it's the autopsy is not the end of the story. It tells you the manner. I don't know the manner or the means or whatever it is, but there are a whole lot of other circumstances that come into play. So let's keep it real and keep our eyes on exactly what it should be. Now, I'm going to play some reports for you. I'm going to talk more about this, about you. Make sure you hit the like and the thumbs up, because it is important and it affects the algorithm. More people become aware of our conversation and our channel. So here's a word from our sponsors, and this is a good time for this one, because I want to tell you something. People ask me all the time, does BetterHelp actually help people?
Okay, so with that all been said, Don is absolutely right. Listen, this is why I told you all that when people send me stuff, I don't always report on it, because some of this stuff is absolutely conspiratorial and sounds crazy as hell, okay? Some of it sounds crazy as hell, but what I need you all to pay attention to is that this thing that's going on, as I told you before, this is all spiritual. This is spiritual warfare. I want you all to pay attention. This is absolutely spiritual warfare. And all of these signs that we keep getting, that this is beyond, just hold on. I'm going to pull up something and show you all in just a second. But all of the signs that we keep getting and the clues that the Klan is involved, that there's a big deep town cover up, that all of these people are just going to be quiet because they're afraid. That's absolutely true, in my opinion. Because I already told you, the Dixie Mafia, they had their own set of rules. And they even wrote a book about how these nefarious devils would silence people. Same people that murdered a judge and his wife. They were in cahoots with politicians, law enforcement, and many other officials. So y'all don't think that they could have everybody down there just terrified to say anything? No one wants to speak out, because it's very interesting that with $125,000 at stake, still no one's come forward to even try to get that reward. Okay, and let's not forget that they made allegations that Javon Williams, Nolan's best friend, they made allegations that he was threatened. And that's why he had to go on TMZ. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but what I do know is that I find it very interesting that people keep talking about other people being threatened. And who has that kind of power to threaten people to the point that the people are even afraid to go to the police? Well, if the police are involved with the people making the threats, that's not going to help you. And I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying that would definitely be a reason that people didn't want to say anything. And where is this nefarious rancher? Okay, who is this rancher that found Nolan's body? That's what I want to know. Why isn't Ledbetter saying anything about him? And how come this man hasn't come out publicly and done even one interview? Don't y'all find that crazy? Because I sure do. Hold on. Let me just check on something real quick. So check this out. Now, you all know where they say Nolan's body was found, right? Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm correct. I'm pulling up this receipt. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So they say that Nolan's body, Pilot J said the Ranger is public information. It's not sealed. Exactly. That's why I'm curious as to why they haven't said anything about this man. Why is it shrouded in mystery? Now, the video that I showed you earlier with the guy who claims to be an investigator, he said that the anonymous Ranger is involved. Okay? He says that this person is involved, and I absolutely believe that. That's why I did a video about him yesterday, telling you all that this is what everybody missed. Okay? That nobody seems to be wondering what in the hell happened to this Ranger that found Nolan's body and why he hasn't come forward and why they won't even tell us his name, a picture, or anything. I find that very interesting and clearly suspicious. Okay? I find it absolutely suspicious. Now, here's the thing. You all know where Nolan's body was found? His body was technically found on the shoreline. And what is the shoreline? Oh, that's right. I'm so glad you asked. It's the line where land meets the water. Okay? So meaning it's directly on the border of both. So pay attention to that, because that's very important. His body was found on the shoreline, which is where the water and the land meets. So now you can't say he was found in the water or on land, because it was actually both. Now, doesn't that sound like perhaps he was placed there like we initially said? Let's look up something else. Hold on, let me find this real quick. Hold on, we got to find this out we got to do this research in real time. While I'm doing this, I'm going to put up a video for you all to watch. Also, I want to show you all something too. Y'all know how I've told you all, like, that, please like and share. You all remember, put a 1 in the chat for those of you that follow the spiritual channel. How many times have I told you all that very often I get downloads from God, from the Most High, and sometimes, a lot of times, I see angel numbers and things like that, but I also experience synchronicity. And then I see clues and different things that happen around me, and you all can do the same thing. Remember I told you all that? So I find it very interesting that last night, this popped up on my timeline. Now watch this. This makes me further think that this is all spiritually connected. See, this is a picture of Michael Jackson, right? And what does that word say right there? It says Wyatt's. Okay, it says Wyatt's. Please pay attention. Now, hold on. It's a bit more than that as well. We're going to get into it, but hold on. I'm trying to figure out something. So let's talk about how likely is it for a body to wash up on the shoreline. So here's what it says. The likelihood of a body washing up on a shoreline depends heavily on distance. Okay, it depends heavily on distance, local currents, and water temperature, ranging from highly probable for North Shore incidents to extremely unlikely for deep ocean events. Now, the bodies entering the water close to the coast, which means within a few miles, frequently wash ashore, whereas deep ocean sinkings rarely reach land. Submerged bodies initially sink, As decomposition continues, gases start to build up, right? This is during the putrefaction process. And then the body often regains buoyancy and rises to the surface within a few days to weeks, where wind and surface currents drive its drift. Okay, hold on. I'm about to pull up this video for you all. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay. Rupert says it's suspicious because 5 agencies searched by air and land on the 5th. They should have seen the body. Cito had it though. Then placed it, Queen. Alec, I can explain also. Are you going to get up here, beloved? And thank you for that. Listen, this is exactly what I said though. This is exactly what I was saying. I think it was yesterday. Thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. That's what I said yesterday, beloved. I literally said this. I said that it's very suspicious that the ranger hasn't come forward. And also, I said that if the Cajun Navy claims, which they absolutely did, that they were in the air 300 feet, looked down, saw 2 boats very close together. I said, I believe the body was on one of those boats. But not only that, it was the fact that they looked for 2 days on the 4th and the 5th. Hold on. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to go to my TikTok. I did a TikTok about this last night. Okay. I don't want to go looking for yesterday's video and having to dig through all that. I'm just going to go to my TikTok because that's a short video. It's like 3 minutes. Okay. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, here we go. I'm going to send this to my email real quick. Oh, okay. He's going to come up. Okay, great, beloved. I'm going to drop you the link in just a second. Okay, I'm going to drop you a link in just a second. Let's listen to Sam's video.
Nolan Xavier Wells update, and I have found something very interesting. In new video that I've just seen of Horn Island, it doesn't look too crazy, but what I did notice is I caught the boat that they say that second video that appears to be Nolan is on. And remember, we couldn't figure out, was it Lil Daddy, Big Daddy? Well, it's Mac Daddy, because look at this. Here's the picture from the original video. Here's the video, right, that TMZ released. And then here's a still of what appears to be Nolan on the back of the boat. They say, some people say it isn't him, but what the point is, if it is him, the boat is Mac Daddy, because in this new video, look here, that is the Mac Daddy boat, and it's the same kind of boat. Because you can see Nolan's blue shorts are the same in this picture that we've seen in the other pictures, but we have not been able to identify the name of the boat. So my internet sleuths, help me out with this one. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let me know.
All right, beloved. Secret Service Sam, steady on the case. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go to my TikTok from last night next. Okay, let me just pull that up. And then I'm going to drop you the link, beloved. Now, mind you, I don't want anyone to click this link except for Rupert McClendon. Hold on, let me make sure I'm sending you the right link, first of all. Okay, there's the link, beloved. It's at the bottom of the chat. Just click the link and you can come on up. You can turn your camera on or off. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen. things in particular that I find very interesting about the Nolan Wells case. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing I noticed is there seems to be a concerted effort for them to take down Ben Crump. They've been saying a bunch of disparaging things about him, and they've even lied on him at least twice. Okay, please pay attention. Now, the first lie was when one of the Cajun Navy members posted to social media trying to chastise Ben Crump and basically telling him to stop misrepresenting their words, basically calling him a liar. And this was pertaining to them supposedly saying that Nola was found fully clothed. Now, they acted as if they didn't say this, but we know they absolutely did because Todd Terrell, the member who's one of the top people there, said it on Nancy Grace. Also, later, he went on to another organization and basically corrected himself. But did he offer an apology to Ben Crump? I don't think so because I sure hadn't heard about it. Have any of you? Okay, please drop me a comment to let me know. And they also said that they asked Ben Crump if he wanted the cadaver dogs to be brought into the boats and that he told them no. Well, why would they ask Ben Crump that? That doesn't even make sense. And like I said before, he doesn't have the authorization to give them to search anyone's personal or private property. Okay. And I could have sworn that in the first reporting about that being a request or an offer, that they basically had spoken to the police, law enforcement. Okay. That's what I could have sworn, but maybe I'm crazy. And then also, wasn't it reported that they asked the boys and they also said no? Okay. Ben Crump doesn't have the authority. They would have to either get a warrant signed by a judge. Also, they would need probable cause. But other than that, they would have to get permission from the owners of those boats. Okay, please pay attention. And the last thing, now this is the second thing that I find very interesting. They have never released the name, not a photo, not a statement, or anything pertaining to the ranger, this phantom mystery ranger that supposedly found Nolan's body. And I find that very interesting, specifically because the Cajun Navy, the family of Nolan, and others, including law enforcement, were out there searching for Nolan for 2 days, and nobody saw anything. Now, mind you, Horn Island isn't that big. It's only 10 to 13 miles long. Okay. And with that being said, how could they not have seen anything in 2 days? And then all of a sudden that Monday at 8:45 in the morning, he was found by this phantom ranger that no one's ever seen. Okay, please pay attention. And even Nolan's own grandfather, Christopher Wells, the father of Christine Wells Wansley, he mentioned that also on his social media. He thought that was strange as well, that people searched for 2 days and didn't find anything. And then all of a sudden, there he is that Monday morning. Okay, so please pay attention. And even though Bart's hired an attorney, at the end of the day, didn't his attorney say that Bart was only there to tow a boat? So Bart was there. So he's still under as much suspicion as anyone else, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, please pay attention. Now, the fact that the Cajun Navy said that there were 2 boats close together, I thought that was suspicious, but also the fact that they won't tell us, have not said anything about who this mystery ranger is, makes me just a bit more curious. Now, some of us speculated that maybe Nolan was not on that island after they left. Maybe he was brought back to the island on a second trip. Okay, now I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that that could be the case for all we know. We clearly don't have all the answers, but the fact that we don't know who this mystery man is and the fact that they've been telling these lies on Ben Crump, I find it all very interesting. Okay, so please pay attention.
Yes. Something.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. Okay, so this is what I was trying to say. Bungani is saying some things about Secret Service Sam. Bungani, I'll ask you politely, beloved, to keep your thoughts about Sam to yourself, because Sam is a good friend of mine, okay? And he's not what you think he is. At the end of the day, you don't know him. And I have known Sam for over a year, and Sam is the person who had my back when I was in New York and someone tried to attack me. And not to mention, Secret Service Sam even did a video about me on yesterday. Okay? And so with that all being said, everybody needs to pay attention. Now, Rupert, tell us what you were talking about, beloved.
Hello, can you hear me at all?
Yes, I can hear you just fine. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. I appreciate you first and foremost because this is my first time ever on a platform like this to express my ideas. But this one, I wanted to get it out to the people because you have a big platform and explain something that people are kind of just brushing over, but it's a key point. When you hear the audio call of them speaking to the dispatch, she's green. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. And I've worked in offices where, I've worked in environments where you have dispatch and they work for an entity. In Mississippi, in that area, Chris Ward and Captain Seth Ward, who was on that call, Seth Ward is the son of Chris Ward. Chris Ward, the father, they are the owners of that company of the CTO in Mississippi. They have 4 hubs along the coastline near the private boating docks that you see that come up in this case. The grandfather, Jerry Atkinson, who sells boats, he has automatic insurance of CTO when he sells the boat. So this is how CTO makes their money. Okay. He has a big connection. What you saw was an alibi. It was a thought out alibi. He told his grandson, called him on the water and told him what was the situation. He told him to call CTO while he was calling CTO himself. This is the grandfather. These are elders who have deep clan ties in Mississippi. When he called CTO's captain, Seth Ward, the son of Chris Ward, already had spoken with the grandfather. They already knew the plan, and what they needed to assure themselves is that they had a recording audio of them denying the call so that they have an alibi that they never came out. But they did. They did not need to tow a boat. They needed to tow a body because they could not dump the body in the water right there when it was active and light outside. It would have been found by either the Coast Guard before the evening dropped, or it would have been found by the Coast Guard early morning. So they went and they towed the body and they hid it at a CTO hub. And if you notice, and I've done the timing, the search on the 5th started roughly around late 11 o'clock, 12 noon. And because of weather, it had to end at 4 p.m. So that left 15 hours of open space on the water before July 6th till you can find the body. Now, this is where they told on themselves, Queen. The coordinates, longitude, latitude that Wyatt gave over the airwaves is the exact same place where Nolan's body was found. The water does not have to listen to latitude, longitude. The water could have taken his body anywhere. But the body,
Hold on 1 second. I want to get this off the screen so we can see you, okay? Adrian, thank you for your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. She says, what's going on is generational, occultic, and sacrificial initiation worldwide. The demonic entities, time short, and they're being exposed. It's going to be a political fight from TPUSA lit by Tatum. I absolutely believe it. And guess what? That's why I've been telling you all this is spiritual. Okay, I told you all that weeks ago. This is absolutely what it is. And I also told them that these people, they know that the gig is up. It's being exposed. And we're being shown the truth in real time. Now, to some who are not open or who don't have who are not seeing things with their third eye, they're not going to be able to see and understand what we're talking about. It's going to sound crazy and far-fetched to them. Okay, but now Yes, but now, beloved, I want you to tell us more about these clan ties, because that's also what I was talking about July the 18th from the video footage that I just showed you all. These people are very active down there still, and they were passing out flyers in Ocean Springs in 2018. And this is why I knew that it was much deeper than anybody thought. You all know I'm prophetic, so I literally was seeing these things in dreams, okay?
It's
And also
spiritual.
just having intuition. Yes, and that's how I knew it was spiritual. Y'all, we are breaking this down. We are breaking news right here. Everybody remember, you heard it here first, because by the end of the day, we already know the bigger channels are going to steal the information and not give the queen credit. So please pay attention. Go ahead, beloved. I love it. Thank you, Cyrus.
And I'm glad they are going to steal the information. And I've made small comments here and there because this is my first time, and I love the fact that news can be spread like this. But you have a great platform, and I've watched you for years. Never got to do this. But when it comes to this case, yes, it was something quite obvious. They gave the longitude, latitude coordinates. Look, when they gave the longitude, latitude coordinates on air, that was on the 4th. That was the evening of the 4th, around 4:30 when they were on the phone. However, nobody, as you see, to this very day, nobody, no law enforcement, nobody, they will go everywhere, but they will not look or search to see, because every call that comes into CTO is recorded. They won't see if Jerry Atkinson's call is recorded with the captain. Also, at the end of the dispatcher's call, the captain said, just transfer me to the kid. They will not check to see about that information. They will not check to see if the Captain Seth, the son of Chris Ward, they won't see if he talked with Wyatt. Because if you get the time logs, you don't even need the recordings. If you get the time logs for those calls, you will see that Wyatt called his grandfather, Jerry called his connect, and Captain Chris Ward and his son in Cito. He needed them to simply say on the recording that we were not coming so that they can come bring the body. Why? Because Cito, who was a locally owned company by Chris Ward and his son, Seth Ward, they have 4 hubs stationed right around the coastline next to Jerry Atkinson's house, one of them mainly. And if you place the body in one of those hubs, while they come and conduct a search on air and by land on the island with the Rangers on land, 5 agencies on air and water, they could not come across a body for 5 hours. And they did not see traces of a body because the body was hidden. And all they did, knowing that the search would continue at roughly about 8 o'clock the very next day, all they had to do, simply, Cito is 24/7 on the water, on those waters. So at 3, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, they can simply come out on the backside. As you see, they have if you go on the internet, you can see they have a hub that goes on the backside of the north tip of the west end where they can come around with nobody seeing them, and they can drop the body right there. It is the perfect crime. There is no other way else to do it. That is the reason why they're so confident in talking now, because they know nobody has checked there. Now, when I drove a cab, the one thing I knew is that I paid the city police and the city sheriffs. So if there was a DUI checkpoint, nobody checks me. I knew that. They know that. It's the perfect place to do. That's why the grandpa is smart and he knows he has connections. Look, the reason why they can't figure it out is because nobody checked Cito. They won't even check the time log of the calls, and it's out there. And the kids that were speaking in the background, that is why Wyatt said, shut up, because Wyatt could have been on the phone with his grandfather while talking to Cito. He could have had the grandfather on another line. But either or, they have the point of what happened, because when it comes down to it, they would be wasting their time trying to figure out Nolan's murder first before they handle what they have. You see, no matter what, they hid the body. That is a crime. And they covered that up and they brought the body back out. So you have accessory after the fact. And Then you can figure out the murder. But they will figure out the murder if the two girls' voices on the boat, if they simply detain or make an arrest there with the two girls who they heard. I guarantee you, the girls will fold. The young ladies will fold. That's on their boat. They do not want to be in trouble. That's why they said, can you cover this up? But the key fact that nobody is speaking about is that while all those agencies were flying over the water, Nolan's dad came out early morning, which some of the friends should have volunteered to come out with the dad and search. They never did.
Right.
But yeah, that's what's letting you know. And Cito is told on himself because there's always something that leaves you to tell on yourselves. The coordinates. The body did not have to be dropped off exactly on the coordinates, but that is the only place they knew for Nolan to be. They didn't drop him off on the east side. They didn't drop him off on the back side. They dropped the body off exactly on the coordinates, longitude, latitude, that Wyatt gave them on the phone, because they knew that would stand out. Now, the Rangers would have seen the body if it was on land any other day, but they dropped the body off during the night, placed it face down. That's why have you ever heard anybody say the body was bloated? No, because the body was not in the water for that long. The body was placed there early morning by Cito because nobody regulates Cito. The sheriffs aren't going to pull over Cito.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yes, the sheriffs will never pull over Cito. They know the sheriffs. They're in cahoots. Everybody knows each other in the town. It's a tight-knit group, Trayston said. We have a tight-knit group. Okay?
Right.
That's right.
And he said, we don't know who we're messing with.
You don't know.
Wow.
That's right.
That's why he said that. Let me ask you this, beloved. Now, do you think the anonymous ranger even exists?
Now, the anonymous ranger, if you notice, when you had the interview from the Cajun Navy, he tried to claim that he saw the body in the air, but he soon had to say what? The sheriffs and the rangers were already down on the ground and we flew over 400 feet and we saw the body. Yes, because you didn't find the body. The ranger would find the body in the morning because the ranger, in cahoots with what? Cito, who goes out to these different islands. They have 4 hubs. They know all the rangers. They know all the rangers. And in the middle of the night, through the dark hours, what did they say? They had to stop the search at 4 p.m. on the 5th because of weather. And then it gets dark around 6:37. So you have from 6:37 in the dark hours of the night, which Cito is the only 24/7 entity on the water. That means they can go at any time of the night. Perfect place.
Right.
It is the perfect place. There is no other place on that island. They wouldn't ship him to another island. They would have been found by air. His body would have came up. If he drowned on the 4th, his body would have already been floating on the surface by the evening or the 5th. Somebody would have saw him. They couldn't find a scratch of anything because Cito had the body. Cito had the body. That's why you see all the movement with the boats after they made it back to land. Cito just needed what? I can't help you, Jerry, unless you give me an alibi that I was never there. And Jerry did it. They're smart, older men. They know what to do. Nothing's new under the sun, as you know. So they know how to do this. Okay? They knew just what to do. They brought the body in. All they did when you seen the call, if Cito would have came closer to the shore on the 4th when the call came in, somebody would have seen them. They needed to go out in the water. They did a transfer right there. I've checked Cito boats. They have a boat called the General. They have a lot of boats, but they have a boat that you can simply come up, pull up next to the boat, transfer the body, bring it on into one of your hubs. And when you put it in that hub, everybody can fly over you. Nobody is going to check that hub. No sheriff, no agency, because they would not know. It's the only place you would store the body. That's why they couldn't find it. And that is the reason why once they came back and you see the boat that supposedly had a bilge pump problem, after it made it to the dock, it was still in the water for an hour. And it moved around some more.
Right.
That's correct. They were moving around from all the different Cito hubs.
Wow,
That's
so
right.
that's where that missing time was.
Go check. Go just, and all I'm asking is for everybody in your to go check. Go check right now and put in Ceto Ocean Springs, and then you'll see Captain Chris Ward. You'll see the father of Seth who answered the phone. His son answered the phone. So when the grandfather called, he probably thought he was going to get right to Chris, but he knows the grandson too. Okay, they know each other. You can see Seth speaking in code. And the thing that people don't know is when Seth was speaking with that dispatch, they could have been right in the same room. Okay, I've worked in dispatches. They could have been right there, and he could have been telling her right there, like, look, but because he said, just transfer me over to the kid. That should have been a recorded call right there. The transfer over to the kid. But you notice they have the dispatch recording. They don't have a recording of the grandfather calling Seth into Ceto, because no matter what, he called Ceto. So either he called Ceto on the recorded line or he called personally. Either or, look, somebody would have been arrested there if you called personally there, because you have the kid stating it on the dispatcher's line. You have everything that was not supposed to be said. It was said by mistake. They were trying to make an alibi, but there were people talking in the background. It was an organic mistake, and we have it. But as you see, after they seen their organic mistake come out, Queen, they immediately tried everything to detour you from looking at that. That's why till this day, nobody on the news, all of the fancy news structure, nobody has asked for the recording of Jerry Atkinson and the captain, and nobody has asked for the captain speaking to Wyatt when he asked to be transferred over to the kid. Nobody wants to even hear it because they know they will find out what happened right there. And the money that the people are asked, the friends and stuff that are basically involved in this murder, they're asking, they created a money drive because that's going to pay off the people to shut up without them using their money. Okay. Any money that they receive from around America to support their efforts, that's to pay the people to shut up, especially the girls that were on the boat. Okay. That's people donating money that they can simply give out. Because if anybody gives up Ceto, I guarantee you, and I told somebody about 2 days ago, I was trying to express this, but as you see, I didn't even know how to click on your link, but I had to. You are the first person I've ever been able to speak to in this capacity, and I'm glad everybody is listening, because watch how everybody around the nation, nobody is going to mention Ceto. Didn't they? They asked for Ceto, and did you see how he didn't? Wyatt on the phone wasn't alert to nothing, but I guarantee you this, and when we all look back, soon as she said, do you want Coast Guard to come? He was alert, wasn't he?
Right.
No, not them. No, not Coast Guard.
Right.
Definitely not Coast Guard. Yeah. And when they said that, that's why the grandfather knew you cannot dump that body over the boat right now. Coast Guard is going to find it. Right now, you still have about 3-4 hours till the sun drops. Somebody's gonna see this body, and he's dead already. Smart. These are elders helping him. He's dead already. You can't dump him. Somebody's gonna see it. Now, if you bring the body into Ceto, we can hide it because it is going to be a search. And what did they made sure they made sure to call the Coast Guard at night when you can't do a search.
Right.
You can't even do a search at that time. And what did they know? Ceto watched the whole search go on the 5th. No Ceto boat came out to search.
Oh, this is so juicy.
No Ceto boat came out to search. But yet, Nolan's father came out early morning. He rode over the whole northwestern tip. Said it. He said that. They did not see anything. They had rangers on land. They had 5 agencies searching air, land, and water. It is not a big area to cover. If Nolan drowned on the 4th in that area, his body would have washed up anywhere in that vicinity. It could have washed up in open ocean, but it would have been in that area. There is no way that a body, and I live in Sacramento near all the rivers, we have drownings, multiple drownings. Bodies wash up way away from the part where they drown. His body happened to wash up the very next day, not on the 4th, not on the 5th when everybody searched, but the very next day, the longitude, latitude that was only given to who? Cito. The body washes up right on the exact point. And a land ranger finds it. Not air, not sheriffs, a land ranger finds it. Everything that's in connection with small county towns where we can do stuff in-house, these are the only people who saw it first. Every entity that can start a criminal investigation did not see the body at all. At all. Now, I'm just saying that if you watch, everybody, they'll talk about Katie, they'll talk about Nolan, they'll talk about Warren, Bart, and all these other things. Yes, obviously some foul play happened. That is what somebody has to tell on. But the thing that gives them up is the fact that you did hide the body. If Nolan drowned, his body would have been found on the 5th with 5 agencies searching.
Right, because that's what I said. Because first of all, Horn Island is only 10 to 13 miles long. It's not even that big.
And if you notice, they already came out. The Cajun Navy alone already done an interview telling you their search. It was 4 other agencies helping them. The Marine Resource Place, the Coast Guard, everybody. It was 5 agencies using all their resources to search in a small area. And they had all their rangers searching on land. They didn't find a piece of Nolan. But all of a sudden, the exact longitude, latitude coordinates given to Cito on the morning when they knew the search would continue at around 7:45, 8 a.m. They knew that already. It stopped at 4 p.m. on the 5th. You remember Cajun Navy already stated that. We had to stop the search at around 4 p.m., 4:30 because of weather, and we were told to pull off the ocean. So the search stopped.
Wow.
And then it continued in the morning of the 6th. And that means Cito and the grandfather, Jerry Atkinson, you's a bad boy. He's smart. He's outsmarted the whole nation. Jerry Atkinson. Yes, he has. He's outsmarted them because he knew once we pull that off the water, we're going to sit here and watch all day as you guys never can find him. And as soon as they finished that search that day, they waited patiently. Cito took a boat during the night because remember, Cito is the only entity on that water that has 24/7 access in the water.
Mm-hmm.
And they simply drove it back out, placed it there without nobody seeing it because it was in the wee hours of the night. There is no vision. And they went to the exact coordinates. They placed him face down and boom, you found him. But everything tells them the body was not bloated. They took the throat and they took the lungs because therefore the second autopsy would have seen it was not a drowning. They would have seen it. We wouldn't even be talking about stuff no more. They would have they took everything, and it is the perfect crime. Now, why do I say this? I said when I had my cab in my younger years, I'm a 48-year-old man now with a 21-year-old son, and when I was raising my son and I had a cab, when I seen all I had to do was pay the city police and pay the city sheriffs here in California, and I watched every car get pulled over at a checkpoint searching for DUIs. Me, all I had to do was have people in the back of my cab. They don't know if I was in the club either.
Mm-hmm.
I could ride right by. I don't get touched. Yeah, Cito don't get touched. Nobody searched. No cop entity searched Cito. Now, if there was if they didn't just hire a civil lawyer and they hired a criminal lawyer along with a civil lawyer, then you would have had the criminal lawyer doing those type of investigations. And you could have went in there and checked CETO, pulled records, pulled their subpoenaed the phone of Captain Seth and everything, which should have already been done. They should have subpoenaed their phones.
I said that. I
But
absolutely said
I know.
that.
I remember
This was
when you said
crazy.
it. I remember when you
Yes.
said it. Yes, you said
Wow.
key things, and the things that you said, I was over here like, how can I speak with you? I just want. This
Oh
is
my
my first time. I've never been able to speak like this to an audience to get it out. But
Right.
I was putting money on. I was like, I don't care if it takes $50. I'm gonna put it on, and I'm gonna send my messages until somebody notices me here, because I don't want to say anything. If you notice, all of the things I'm saying is based on factual information you can pull. I don't want to go too much to where I'm just saying that the facts that you do have, you did not check into that fact thoroughly, because if you did, you would have at least, and what did I say? At least the phone, they would have seen, Wyatt, when did you call your grandfather? Because you obviously called him on the water, because Captain Seth said, basically, you talked with him. Why? Because your grandfather called us immediately.
Right.
So
Hold
you
on,
had to
beloved.
call him.
Hold on. Let me say something. Black Cherry
You got
says
it.
so they have to plan this, or this is procedure. Likely so, beloved, and thank you for your insight to the topic and your contribution. I appreciate you. Now, Beauty says, not you attacking a Black person on Sam. You didn't have to go that hard to get your point across. This was disgraceful and says a lot about you. Well, if you don't like it, leave. Okay, because I didn't attack anyone. I simply said that Secret Service Sam is a friend of mine. And if you don't know him, then you should not just assume things. Because I know Sam, and Sam had my back when some white man attacked me in New York. Okay, Sam was right there with me when I spoke to the police, and he confirmed and corroborated everything I said. So you can sit down somewhere, and if you don't like it, leave. Just because somebody's Black doesn't mean I have to sit there and let them bash my friend that they don't even know. Okay?
Exactly.
Please sit down somewhere. And how about this? How about I just put you out here anyway, honey? Because at the end of the day, I don't have time for the BS. If you don't like what the Queen is cooking, bye. Go somewhere else and get your news. But continue, beloved.
Yes, indeed. But it is funny you mentioned something about Secret Service. Do you remember that call when the dispatcher was speaking with the captain, and she said to the captain, and you can see a hesitation. She said, "Do you want me to just look up Jerry Ackerson's name to see if he has a membership?" Because the captain was trying to go on with his alibi. And she said, "Well, I can look him up." And he was hesitant. He was like, "Damn it." And she said, "What? His name comes up, but I'm just hearing you mention the word Secret Service or something like that, and I don't know what that is." But if you recall and go back and listen to that audio, she says his name comes up under Jerry something service. Like, it sounded like she said Secret Service. It said she didn't say Jerry Ackerson. She said his membership comes up as something like Jerry, like, and that's when they confirmed, yes, he does have a membership. But I looked on CETO's website. Not only do they have a membership, but I heard Mr. Atkinson, the grandfather, sells these boats, and he must be popular selling these boats. And CETO, Chris Ward, the father, it's a locally owned tow company. Chris Ward is the father. Seth Ward is the son. They're both the captains. But the grandfather, and you guys were mentioning KKK ties, and I tried to tell them, they're talking to all the youngsters in the new wave. The Ku Klux Klan ties in Mississippi always reside with the elders. Always resides with the elders. And bingo, you have Jerry Ackerson, an elder, knowing that there was a body to dispose of on the boat, and you have his connect, a locally privately owned company by two. One, the elder is Chris Ward, the father, Captain Chris Ward, and his son, who was working that day was Seth Ward, who you heard on the phone. But you do not have Jerry Ackerson's call time or call recording to Seth. And you don't have Captain Seth when he was transferred over to Wyatt. You don't have that information. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody is hush-hush about it. everybody they have the dispatch lady who was on they have her voice all over it. She has no idea.
Okay, so listen, beloved.
No idea.
Listen, I appreciate all this information.
Yes.
Now we're 3 hours in, so I'm gonna wrap up this broadcast. But listen, can you come back later? Can you come back later?
Anytime, and I will dig up all the other crevice of those little crevice informations on CETO and the hubs. But anytime you would allow me, I highly appreciate you just having me this time, because I feel I was able to get this off my chest. But anytime,
yes. Okay, so listen, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come back later, okay? And I need you to send me an email, okay? Send me an email with your contact information. I don't want you to give it off over the internet, but send me an email with your information so I can call you later, okay? So we can set up when I can have you back on here so we can do another live later.
I appreciate you highly. I thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. This is so juicy. You all know y'all heard it here first, honey. Please pay attention. This is an exclusive. And so now let me ask you a couple of questions before you roll out.
Okay.
The alibi. Okay,
Yes.
so you remember I was the first one who reported that?
Yes, I remember.
Thank you, because you know somebody else, I'm not gonna call their name. They came right behind me with their bigger platform and acted like they are the one that broke that news.
Exactly. I believe they heard you say it, and I believe they read. I was trying to leave comments after on your thing, and things that they said. I believe that they read my comments, and I heard people reiterate something, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to get the info out unless I was able to speak like this.
Well, I appreciate it, beloved. This is so interesting. Hold on. Black Cherry said they have a rule on Horn Island. No one leave if someone is missing. Everyone knows that locally.
Yes.
That is crazy. So Black Cherry, thank you for that tidbit of information and your contribution, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, so listen, let me just tell you all what this says, because I got this off of their website. Boat distress call. Okay, it says 8-minute call, sinking boat, poor cell service, and a plea for help is unanswered. Boat distress call to CETO adds new piece to Nolan Wells' death investigation. Okay, they need to sit down somewhere, because we now know that absolutely, like I told you all, okay, Rupert has just confirmed what I said weeks ago, that there are clan ties, okay? And then someone else has confirmed or basically talked about the Dixie Mafia. They told Secret Service Sam that information, but now we know that the call was absolutely for an alibi. And also, I love the information you gave about the coordinates and all of that, and the ranger. So no wonder they have never told us who that ranger was. I'm going to tell you, I am so thrilled that I got to have you on here, beloved. So with that all being said, yes, absolutely. Thank you. Because we're trying to crack this darn case.
Me too. And it was something right there that was cracking it. And I just noticed that because they started flooding with all the different informations to deter you. And I said, nope, it's right there.
Exactly. Y'all, I keep telling y'all, when my intuition, is very on point. I have not ever been wrong. Not to say that I can't be wrong sometime in the future, but I have not ever been wrong.
That's right. When your intuition hits like that, it lets you know. And I've seen, and this is something why I had to do it, because, and I've never said this publicly in my life. I was born out of murder. You see, I was born out of it. My grandmother committed a crime to where my mother wouldn't have had me if my grandmother hadn't been incarcerated. But details in the way that she had to hide the body, you see, is something that I studied all my life. So it's intuitive to me. When I heard the call and I seen the things like that, something shook me off. I said, no, that captain wait a minute. Why don't we hear the captain's call? He said he spoke. Well, that should be recorded. We never had it. I waited. The call never came out. And I said, and I looked how they played it and where the body came. And I said, that body was right at, and that's when I looked up the hubs. Now, for the hubs, before I leave, anybody that wants to check me, just to know, go check all 4 CETO hubs that's on their site. They have one that's in Bayou St. Louis right there. It's the perfect place to hide Nolan's body. And if they need to bring him out to Horn Island on the west tip, it's the perfect route to bring him out with nobody seeing him. And that's just one of their hubs. But go check me. Just go check me. That's it.
Exactly.
I'm willing, and I'm willing to put it was somebody that said they thought I was kind of silly with it, and I said, hey, I feel so strongly about that. I said I would put my money up.
Okay, well, I absolutely love it. This all makes sense to me. It doesn't sound crazy to me at all, specifically because a lot of this is things that I was already thinking and speaking on. So with that all being said, I'm going to have you back on here. Like I said,
Thank you.
yes. And my email for you to send your information to is Queen Ahmadiyyah. Let me let you write that down. It's Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur at gmail.com.
Queen
I'll give you
Ahmadiyyah
the correct
Shakur?
spelling. Yes,
Okay,
Queen Ahmadiyyah
I'll spell
Shakur.
it right now. Go ahead.
Okay, it's Queen. And then Ahmadiyyah is like Ahmad, A-H-M-A-D.
A-H-M-A-D? Okay.
I-Y-Y-A-H.
Last
name Shakur. Last name Shakur, S-H-A-K-U-R at gmail.com.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is later before I come live, I'm going to post the link, right? And then I'm going to email you the link. So when you send me your information, make sure you send me your email because I'm going to send you the link. And so you'll just be on here when I start the broadcast. Okay.
I got you. I appreciate it. And I don't even know what else to say. I just highly thank you for letting me express my information.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. Now, let me just say for the record, all of this is for entertainment purposes only. This is all alleged. Everything is alleged. Okay. Please pay attention. Because we don't know who did what.
Exactly.
Okay. But we're digging and we're looking for answers and we're not going to stop. Okay. So with that all being said, everyone, please hit that like button. Please like, share, and subscribe. Now, the bull says the universe will let you be heard, beloved. Absolutely. Absolutely. Isn't that how it works? And also for those of you, shout out to the replay gang, because what I'm going to do, because this broadcast is so long, I'm going to clip it, for the key parts, and I'll post it as individual little tidbits of information, about 10-minute clips. So you don't have to watch the whole thing to get the gist of it. So when you come back this evening, you'll be caught up with the rest of the information. Okay. So that all being said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Now, when I end the broadcast, Rupert, you stay up here, okay?
Okay.
Don't drop down. You just stay up here, okay? Because I'm going to talk to you for a second. All right. So what do you all think? This was great information, right? I mean, we got a whole lot of information today. So let's talk about it. First, we got the information about the Dixie Mafia, and I reported on them 3 years ago. So that's all interesting. I don't know how that didn't trigger in my mind that they possibly had something to do with this, because I reported on them thoroughly. And then also, so we have the White Knights of the KKK, which I reported that July the 18th. We already established that the toll call to Cito was an alibi. Rupert just let us know about all the connections and ties and how everything goes down with Cito. Okay, so also we got the picture of the boat out there on Horn Island from the person who posted it at 11:15 or 11:17 that morning, showing that it was so crowded out there even that early. There's no way you could have dumped anything out there without anyone seeing something.
Exactly.
So it only makes sense that the body was carried in a boat and then taken back later in the wee hours of the night and placed there on the shoreline.
Exactly.
This is absolutely amazing. Okay, so thank you, beloved. With that all being said, each one teach one. That's how we're going to thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Peace, you guys.
Mississippi Delta, still crying the same tears. From Emmett to Nolan, how many more years? Copper blood in these waters, Most High see us here. Peace be still, but the truth gonna appear. Emmett Till, young boy whistling in the store. White lies turned to lynch and dragged him from the door. Beaten, shot river, swallowed him whole. Open casket, mama showed the world his soul. Nolan Wells, 18, boat ride on the 4th. Only black in the circle, now they say he drowned 4. Horn Island whispers, friends came back without him. Mississippi history, still hunting, still doubting. Same state, same pain, different name. Black boy lost in the Delta rain. When will it change? Lord, when will it change? Ancestors laughter screaming, we never left this stage. 1955, Chicago boy down south for the summer breeze. Money, Mississippi, wrong place for a black team to breathe. Brian stole maybe a whistle, maybe just a smile. Jim Crow code broken, now they coming in the night. Wild Roy and Malone snatched him from his uncle's floor. Tortured that baby, Fanta round, body in the Tallahatchie roar. Mutilated face, mama said let the world see. Acquitted by all white jury, not guilty, set him free. Sparked the movement, Montgomery rose from the flames. But the Delta dirt still holding black boys' names. Emmett was 14, just a child in his prime, lynched for existing in a twisted mind. Emmett Till, Nolan Wells, Delta shadows ringing bells. Black life cheap in these haunted lands. Most High coming with justice in his hands. 2026 July 4th, independence gone wrong. Broke the Horn Island with the crew, singing freedom songs. 18 years young, big heart, only copper in the mix. Friends white as the judge that let killers walking. 55 disappeared that day, body found on the shore 2 nights later. They say drowning, no foul play, but the family know better. Questions swimming deeper than the Gulf, water's cold. Why leave your phone? Why the silence from the foe? Mississippi again, history echoing loud. Ben Crump calling for truth, independent, autopsy proud. Was it accident or the past rising from the mud? Black boy with white friends, trust issues in our blood. Why the same soil claim my sons? Ancestor never left, we still the chosen one. From Till's open casket to Nolan's unanswered call. In time signs, Leviathan rising, watch the fall. No hate, just black love, we hold each other tight. But stop crashing out on each other and demand what's right. Peace be still, through the storm we prevail. Father's child, we shall not fail. Both in Mississippi, Delta's cruel embrace. One lynched open, one body lost without a trace. Emmett's killers brag after the verdict came. Nolan's story fog in speculation and shame. 14 or 18, young kings taken too soon. Waters claim the bodies, but the spirit touched the moon. Same fear, same doubt, same racist undercurrent flow. But we wiser now, cameras, voices won't let go. Indigenous copper, mountain builder stand tall. We walk together, ancestors answer the call. No more silent nights, no more cover graves. Justice for Emmett, justice for Nolan. Raise the blade. Hell no, but our spirit never failed. We got black love revolution now. Most High know my heart, make it right somehow. Peace be still, peace be still. From Till to West, the story's still real. Let the world see, let the truth be free. Let the world see, let the world see. Let the truth be free.
From left to right. I'm gonna do for you, but yes,